We got by a beer.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, March 3rd, 2019. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1117.
This is No Agenda.
Proving everything is bigger in Texas and broadcasting live from the capital of the drone, Star State, here in downtown Austin, Tejas, in the Cludio. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where in this day in 1903, Sing Sing Prison began taking prisoners' fingerprints. It was the beginning of the end. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Nice.
What?
you ran out of music bed. That doesn't happen very often.
I got to shorten these things up.
Yeah, you got to talk to the writers.
I have another one that I was going to use, which was this is kind of interesting, actually. But
it's trivia. I like this. I like
having
this
trouble
trivia.
wording it correctly.
Okay, it's like opening
But
show
on this
trivia.
day in 1812,
Yes.
this was the first U.S. foreign aid bill authorized for relief of victims of an earthquake in
Haiti.
Venezuela.
Yeah. And let me guess, was it a very odd earthquake?
I have no idea. I didn't know that. Apparently in 1810, I don't think they had your earthquake machine back then.
Oh, 1810. No. They may not have
Jules
had that.
Verne, I think, was writing in that era. Maybe it's possible.
You never know. You never know. Well, in the morning, everybody, it is the No Agenda Show, episode 1117. And the day after the big Austin, Texas meetup, I got to tell you, cracking the mic this morning, I'm actually a little self-aware.
Why?
Well,
Were
because
people condemning you for something?
No, but when you meet everybody,
Oh.
and you put faces to names, and you can hear how closely they're listening. It's like now I'm like self-conscious. Like, make sure we do everything just right. What an incredible group of people yesterday. I know you saw the pictures.
Yeah. By the way, I want to correct myself. Jules Verne was not yet born. He was born in 1828. So,
Yes.
Because I don't want to get a nasty note.
Almost an unforgivable mistake. Yeah.
10 years off.
So I think the head count was about 125.
Looks like about, based on everything, it looks like it was about, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it was really incredible. 4 hours, 4.5 hours we were there.
Well, yeah, you got that many people, it's going to last a lot longer.
Yeah, and it was so good, man. The Austin Beer Works.
Did you meet every one of the 125 and say hello?
I hope so. I certainly stayed long enough until, there was almost no one left. So if someone didn't come up and they weren't wrangled by the keeper or by the shill, then we missed each other. But I think I pretty much met everybody. And wow, what a group. We got teachers, we've got nurses, we've got
some weirdo, some big giant weird guy with a Guy Fawkes mask and a long beard down to his knees. Who was that anyway?
That was Sir Gene.
Yeah, I figured.
Sir Gene came in like a celebrity, man. He had his glasses on. He's got his shades on. He had his little beret on. Oh, yeah. He just kind of slid in. Hey, everybody. It's Sir Gene here. Duke of Texas.
The sheriff.
Sheriff de Marriott. Whatever. Yeah. I think there were two things that besides everyone being there, two other things that made this meetup extra special, without a doubt, were the name tags. And I'm unsure who brought those, but there were name tags pre-filled out with the name Ben. There were some variations, Benjamin, Bernadette, there was stuff like that. It was very funny. But Mark Hall, our documentarian supreme, really blew it out of the water with the foam finger #1, No Agenda, hand gloves. That was just, what a great idea.
Yeah, that was good.
I think that's a premium we need to keep going. I don't think we actually got one. There was so many people, they were gone in seconds. I was like, oh. So yeah, it was just John. I mean, there's people who we know from the show that I've for years and have not met. It was really fantastic, really fantastic.
Well, I'm glad everyone had a good time.
Yeah,
it's gonna be hard to top that number.
Yeah, no, you seem to be trying to throw some smackdown on Twitter that California can do better. I don't know where you're going to...
Well, California can do better, but, it's Whether it will do better is an issue.
Okay. Are you going to try it? Are you going to do something like in Los Angeles,
I'm
perhaps?
not sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I understand. I can understand you're a little intimidated by our girth here in Texas.
No, it's just the typical Texas crap. These guys, the whole state is like this. They're just full of themselves. Everything's got to be bigger. We're Texas. We're big. We're the biggest state. And you're not the biggest state. Alaska's bigger.
All right. Why don't you go do a meetup in Alaska, see if you can beat us? Start in Anchorage.
Well, Alaska doesn't have this. No, they don't have that. Alaska doesn't care. They're getting free money from oil, and they smoke a lot of grass.
It's exactly who gives a crap.
Still illegal in Texas.
Yeah, although it was, as we go through the notes later in the donation segment, it was an interesting variety of things that were illegal that were slipped into envelopes.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. We were opening the envelopes last night, trying to get the spreadsheet and credit everybody properly, and it's like, oh, what's this? Okay, I thought that smelled kind of familiar. All right. So, oh, what's this? A mushroom? Oh. There's all kinds of stuff that people give out as party favors in Texas. There. What's that?
So they're nuts in Texas. I just said that.
And Nussbaum came in too.
Yes, I heard that.
Oh, the guy's amazing. He's been supporting the show almost, I think, from day one.
He's been supporting it for as long as anyone.
Yeah. Anyway. There was still time for prep.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. Where do you want to start? Because I got a couple of topics that...
Well, I mean, if you have serious topics, I got some clips from Trump. I don't know. Did you hear Trump's CPAC speech?
No, completely missed it.
Huge mistake not listening to it.
Well, I was doing the meetup.
You have to go back.
Okay.
Because it's, his normal ad-lib speech in front of the big crowd?
Sure. Was this it?
This was beyond the pale. Over 2 hours of ad-lib complaining.
Oh, my goodness. Explain what CPAC is and who's behind it.
CPAC is this conservative part. It's conservative. It's a conservative
political action group.
Political action committee.
Right. Yeah.
And so it has a meeting every year. They've had these things for I don't know, a long time. It's very controversial. It's the one. This is the one that they voted in one time. They did before the Tea Party was the
Ron Paul Tea Party. You mean before they got co-opted?
Tea Party.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
They were big celebrities at this thing, and then the CPAC thing is slightly, as far as I'm concerned, slightly corrupt. They rousted the originals, the Tea Party people, and then they brought in these interlopers. This year they did hit goes to Zephyr 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
What?
Unusual.
It's a 9 card.
Anyway, they had Michelle Malkin come in. If anyone can go find her speech, you're going to see a killer speech that hits the nail on the head about CPAC and all the rest of it. Uh-huh. And she'll never get invited back.
Good. So she did a good job then.
Oh, I thought her speech was the best.
But you have no clips from her?
No, I want to get the whole thing out. I'll clip some from it. It's mostly just complaining about It's a very good. I'm just recommending people go see it.
So what? Just before you get in, what exactly is the point of this conservative political action committee?
To get all the conservatives there, so Hannity can come out and they can all shake their fists at the liberals. I mean, there's no reason for it.
Why is it held now, though? I mean,
it's held about this time every year.
Oh, it's every year. Okay.
Yeah, it's been on. It's always on C-SPAN. It's played. C-SPAN will play it on C-SPAN 2.
That's moving up. Not C-SPAN 3.
Yeah, I know. It's better than the hearings.
That's right. That's better than the Cohen hearing.
So Trump comes on and he does over 2 hours of material.
And was this like new stuff or is?
I think most of it was new. Yeah,
I think
he's developed some new material.
Wow.
A lot of old stuff was mixed in.
I think whenever that we had that clip where like Trump has he's humorless. He has no humor. I guess he took that to heart.
I don't think he paid much attention to that because he is pretty funny. But there was my favorite. I think the most classic example of this. Get this. I have this article. The BBC. They described the speech, and I'm gonna read a quote from this article. This is the BBC's. I'm trying to find stuff like you do.
Yes, I know the problem.
The BBC's okay. Well, I'm not going to find it. The BBC said, all he did was they used every word except lashed out.
Okay.
About how Trump was there just to slam Mueller.
Butt slam, lash out.
Butt slam!
I'm just trying to get the title for this thing. Bang. I can't find it. Anyway, I don't know why I can't find it. I just had it in my hand a second ago. Look at this one last sheet. Oh. Anyway, so they go on and on about Trump's it was an attack, but it was all in good humor. And I have 3 clips from the speech. I'll look for the article as we play one of these.
Okay.
This is I'll give you these are 3 interesting examples because one of them, this is a 36-second clip. This is Trump and CPAC, the great tariff debate. And I'm watching this and going, what is this?
It was the great tariff debate of 1888. And the debate was we didn't know what to do with all the money we were making. We were so rich. And McKinley, prior to being president, he was very strong on protecting our assets, protecting our country. And he made statements that others cannot come into our country and steal our wealth and steal our jobs and build their country and not defend our country. We can't do that. We can't ever allow that to happen.
So he's conflating tariffs with immigration?
Yes. As a matter of fact, he managed to do that and did it pretty well. But he starts with, this is where he starts with one of the, he kind of starts the speech talking about stuff like this, and he's going into his history lessons. And then he goes shaggy dog.
Okay, good, love it.
And he doesn't come back to the terrorist thing, and I don't have the follow-up for about 15 minutes, maybe 20. I mean, his shaggy dog approach is quite entertaining. Here's the BBC article. It says, Trump launches furious attack on Robert Mueller. And as I play these 4 Trump clips, I want you to tell me if you think that any of this is a furious attack on anybody. Okay. He does bitch and moan a lot, but it's all very humorous. So let's play. This is the one. It's about, I don't know how long this is. This is pretty deep into the speech, even though according to the BBC. Let me read it from this article. He called the Green New Deal pitched by some Democrats as a radical bid. The president's attacks ranged widely, they say.
Attacks, yes. Painful attacks.
Then he says, this is kind of interesting. He says that he started off. He said where he started off. Now I got to find this. Let's play. This is where they say he started off here, but this is actually about halfway through, about a third of the way through. This is how he goes off the rails and begins to seeming, according to the BBC, attack. But this is Trump and CPAC cussing and fake news.
They said, it's okay for other nations to come in. I won't use a certain word because it's not politically, but everybody knows the word I'd love to use. Should I use it? I won't do it.
Yeah, that's actually just right there. He sounds like a warm-up act for a TV show.
Totally.
He's got a script in one hand. He's teaching everybody how to cheer. That's great.
Our great First Lady always said, don't use certain words, please. I say, but the audience wanted me to do it. She said, don't do it. And the problem is if I do that, they won't put the little preamble that we just went through. They'll just use the word, and they'll say, isn't that terrible? So I won't use it. I've learned, because with the fake news, if you tell a joke, if you're sarcastic, if you're having fun with the audience, if you're on live television with millions of people and 25,000 people in an arena, and if you say something like, Russia, please, if you can, get us Hillary Clinton's emails. Please, Russia, please. Please get us the emails. Please.
I can totally see how people think, wow, this is just like Hitler.
Well, it's actually, I think it's a lot like Mussolini.
Mussolini, right.
Hitler was not, although there is evidence, and I've been trying to get some verification of this. Apparently, Hitler did tell jokes in a lot of his speeches.
So everybody's having a good time. I'm laughing. We're all having fun. And then that fake CNN and others say, he asked Russia to go get the emails. Horrible. I mean, I saw it like 2 weeks ago. I'm watching, and they're talking about one of the points. He asked Russia for the emails. These people are sick, and I'm telling you, they know the game. They know the game. And they play it dirty, dirtier than anybody's ever played the game.
All
dirtier than it's ever been played.
Nice.
So this is the kind of thing, and it's like the whole speech was this kind of material. It was very funny, very well delivered. It was like a warm-up act. You're exactly right.
This is a lot like his whenever he speaks in front of like a building association or some luncheon. This is where he's really good. And I guess he treated it like one of those occasions and not something that would be on C-SPAN and televised for all to criticize.
Well, he is self-aware because this one next clip, I think, this is where he goes off script.
Mm-hmm.
He's off script the whole thing. Let's face it. It was probably a 20-minute speech. And he goes off script and somehow twists into slamming the Green New Deal. But this is the Trump and CPAC off script. This is to me, this is him realizing. And by the way, this is what the BBC said he started with.
Which he did not, apparently.
No, he wasn't. This was nowhere near the beginning of the speech. But okay, whatever you say, BBC. And I noticed this, too, that everybody, and I'm sure of it'll be interesting when it's analyzed by Brooks and Shields, because I have a Brooks and Shields commentary later, that there's just nobody. You have to watch the speech if you're going to start talking about it, and watch it. You just watch it and try to enjoy it. I mean, it's very entertaining. But let's play this.
And I don't know, maybe I'm totally off script, right? Thank you, darling. I'm totally off script right now. And this is how I got elected, by being off script. And if we don't go off script, our country's in big trouble, folks, because we have to get it back. And when I look at what's happening on the other side, I encourage it. I say, no, I think the New Green Deal, or whatever the hell they call it, the Green New Deal, right? Green New Deal. I encourage it. I think it's really something that they should promote. They should work hard on. It's something our country needs desperately. They have to go out and get it. But I'll take the other side of that argument only because I'm mandated to. But they should stay with that argument. Never change. No planes, no energy. When the wind stops blowing, that's the end of your electric. Let's hurry up. Darling, is the wind blowing today? I'd like to watch television, darling.
Oh, that's good. He could have added another line. I've got a new one, which is kind of our line. But news came out yesterday that in Los Angeles, it was the coldest February in recorded history.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I'm thinking, the Green New Deal is already working.
Yeah,
this thing is great.
Yeah. All right, so now here's the last clip. I could have gotten more. Maybe I'll get some more for the next show. But this was the only thing that was kind of baffling. I mean, this makes you turn your head kind of like a dog when you hear this. It's a very short clip. And it's like, what is he trying to tell us?
He talks about crowds. So I'm constantly bugging Mercedes whenever we have a slow moment. I say, Mercedes and Sarah, show them the pictures. Show them and compare them with what they put on television. Those pictures were taken hours before. And remember this also, not that Obama would ever do this, but we had fencing all the way down to the Washington Monument, and it was raining. And it was wet, and the grass was wet. And women and men, and I consider them totally equal, so I'm not going to say it's harder for them. In fact, it's probably, with the men I know, it's actually easier for the women to make the walk, right?
Wow. This is about his inauguration photo,
yeah,
I guess?
He's still bitching about it.
Oh,
but
God.
what was the point of that comment?
That women somehow are like being wet more?
No, he says like the women, it's easier for the women
to
to make
walk.
the walk than the men he knows.
Yeah,
and he
fat-
used the word he
yeah.
knows.
I guess he's saying fat bastards like myself.
I don't know. Is he saying fat guys or wimps or what is he trying? What's he implying?
I think it's because he's a big man.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe that's it.
Huh.
Huh. Okay.
Well, I'm glad you watched that.
Oh, you couldn't. You start. Well, I'll tell you this. Just a warning for anybody who wants to watch this. It's like with a lot of Trump stuff is like this, and you have to admire this ability of his. And I think it's going to have to come into play with other candidates at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Candidates are going to have to be funnier and better at public speaking,
Yeah.
and not as orators,
Gotcha.
but as guys who can just talk to an audience, which is modern. And you start watching this, and it's very hard to put it down.
Yeah, it's addictive.
You got to budget some time because this thing is long.
Addictive. Yeah, I can understand. Well, good. I'm glad you got that. He sounded very comfortable.
Yeah.
In his element, so to speak.
He went into another bit which I didn't record, where he talks about his public speaking ability because he does these. He's really an insulting guy. He's like an insult comic.
Yeah.
He says, I got a friend. Everybody knows who he is. A rich guy in New York. He's the richest of the rich. He's a killer. He's a shark. He's a this. He's a that. I can't tell you his name out. You know who he is. You know who he is. He says, this guy, he'll just rip the shreds to take advantage of. He says, he's a good friend of mine, but maybe he's not because he'd probably screw me if he could.
Right. He does that a lot. Yeah.
And then he says, this guy, he gets in front of two people and he chokes, and he's choking himself. And he says he get 9 people, and he's Trump's choking himself. And then he goes into some rigmarole, something about how he feels so much love in these audiences. That's why he doesn't have any trouble just talking to them. And,
well, he also gives the M5M just hours of material to bitch and moan about him, which is probably more interesting than the Cohen stuff they've been doing nonstop.
If you take this stuff out of context, or just what he bitches about in the speech, and just take snippets, and if you wanted to have some fun, there's enough there.
Right.
You could really make him look like a buffoon, and I'm surprised they don't do it more. I think it's too much work. For one thing, I don't think they like listening to these speeches. They don't like doing a lot of work, these guys.
Oh, no.
I mean, the BBC's report on the speech was just lame and wrong.
Well, I did notice something else took place just at the end of last week, which may even possibly be an exit strategy for you and I.
Yo.
Now,
foam fingers.
Yes, a small exit strategy, but at least for the rest of our lives, because we could make up to $1 million if
by addressing envelopes
by selling Grit newspaper.
Yeah,
I still have the X-ray glasses.
X-ray specs.
If we can provide information, which I believe I can do, leading up to the apprehension and capture of Hasma bin Laden, the son of Osama bin Laden. This broke as 2 spooks entered the foreign press briefing at the State Department. And boy, these guys were super spooks. They show up in a couple of these clips. And the thing was billed as, strategy and tools against Al-Qaeda. Of course, we haven't really heard much from Al-Qaeda because we thought Al-Qaeda kind of morphed and it became ISIS.
I thought Al-Qaeda was eliminated. This is what we were told.
Well, it turns out the story is a little bit different. It was eliminated, but now we've got this guy all of a sudden out of the blue for no reason whatsoever. We get these reports. We'll start off with the Central Intelligence Broadcast System, a report from CBS.
We have only a few images of him. His current age is guessed.
And why? Why on these packages they throw together, at the end of the week. Why they have a Brit voicing it is beyond me. Is it because she's actually from British intelligence and she wrote the script? I mean, you might as well voice it.
Yes.
Something like that.
We have only a few images of him. His current age is guessed to be around 30, and he's believed to be living in hiding in either Pakistan or Afghanistan. Hamza bin Laden is a figure shrouded in mystery, but the State Department says he's emerging as a leader of Al-Qaeda, and some think a possible replacement for the terror group's current top leader, Ayman al-Zawahiri.
He seems to be very charismatic.
Ali Soufan is a former FBI agent and expert on Al-Qaeda.
Bring in the spooks.
He has been groomed since his father's death to take a more senior role in the organization.
This is bullshit.
Oh, no, it's great. It gets better.
Hamza bin Laden grew up a poster child for Al-Qaeda, appearing in propaganda videos like this one, and thought to be his father, Osama bin Laden's favorite son.
Let me tell you, first of all, if you had asked me Osama bin Laden's son's name, I wouldn't have known it. I really would have had to go to the Book of Knowledge.
His favorite son.
And to be able to pull a clip of some kid. Oh, here he is. Here's the kid. I mean, that's pretty good. End of the week, CBS.
As an adult, he's threatened America in audio recordings. Yet only now has the U.S. government offered money for help capturing him.
Just the fact that he is bin Laden's son create the belief out there that he might be able to, try at least to fill his father's shoes.
Ali Soufan believes Al-Qaeda is potentially more dangerous than ever before. The terrorist group and its affiliates are estimated to have tens of thousands of fighters across the Middle East and Africa.
Now, whenever we hear a report like this, I mean, not this, by the way, we had some Pakistani of origin Pakistani producers at the meetup yesterday, and like, oh, you guys are spot on with Modi and it just being an election year and causing some crap in Kashmir. Whenever this happens, we know it's election time. We all stock up on food because you never know how long it'll last. It's the same with this. When you bring out a kid and you say, oh, he's going to be the new leader, and then add in little elements, which I had to get these different reports to find them all. It's like, well, yeah, he's coming back, and listen to the BBC, who again clearly their intelligence outfit has something to do with their reporters better than CBS, and the kicker for the impetus for all this was that Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of SA, stripped him of his citizenship. Now, who could make that happen? There's only one house. The White House calls up Saudi Arabia, says, all right, we need this guy. We need to start some crap somewhere. You've got to be
a setup for that false flag I've been predicting.
Well, maybe. Yes, very possibly. Again, for our $1 million payout, up to $1 million, I might add. They're not promising $1 million. It's up to $1 million.
Up to $1 million. What does that mean?
I know. It's kind of bogus.
Or you don't.
No, it's like up to $1 million. It says it right there on the poster. So they'll probably, hey, good work, no agenda. Yeah, give me a knighthood. All right, thanks. Listen to the BBC report. New information.
Some breaking news now to bring you from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has stripped the son of the late Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden of his Saudi nationality, we're told. The royal decree was published in the official Gazette. It comes out
I need to read this Saudi Gazette.
as the United States is offering $1 million reward for information
up to
about Hamza bin Laden. The US officials say that he is emerging as the leader of the Islamist militant group. In recent years, he's called on followers to take revenge on the US and its allies for the killing of his father, who ordered the 9/11 attacks. Our Washington correspondent Chris Buckler reports.
So there's only a couple people who make that phone call for this stripping of your nationality, which I've never heard Saudi Arabia do. That's a Kushner call. Kushner or Trump or someone from the White House. You got to set this up for us. So they do that. The BBC, they go all out. Let's just remind everybody about this guy's dad, okay?
The United States has published a wanted poster for Hamza bin Laden, and they believe this is the new face of Al-Qaeda. The group has been responsible for many killings and bombings, but none were more devastating than this. On September the 11th, 2001, its members flew planes into the Twin Towers of New York's World Trade Center. One of a series of murderous attacks on America, apparently masterminded by Osama bin Laden.
I like the apparently masterminded.
Almost 2 decades on, the US has new concerns about Al-Qaeda and its late leader's son.
Hamza has released audio and video messages on the internet calling on his followers to launch attacks against the United States and its Western allies. And he has threatened to attack against the United States in revenge for the May 2011 killing of his father.
After a 10-year search, Osama bin Laden was found at a safe house in Pakistan and killed in an operation ordered by the then president, Barack Obama.
After a firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body.
In the compound, they found letters that suggested he was grooming his son Hamza.
So it's the same report. The same report. By the way, I watched the 25-minute spook session at the State Department. They didn't mention any of this. Some briefing went out with all these little details, about all these little things that he's been doing.
So to succeed him, and now intelligence officials believe he is emerging as a key leader in the extremist group.
Today's Al-Qaeda is not stagnant.
Oh.
It's rebuilding.
Woo!
And it continues to threaten the United States and our allies.
The US is offering $1 million for information that leads them to Hamza bin Laden. Officials believe he could be in Afghanistan, Pakistan or Iran, but they admit they don't know for sure.
Yeah. So now this becomes important. Yeah, becomes important. Is it Pakistan, Iran, Afghanistan? Where is
Iran
it?
in there because we've
got
already
to throw it. But we got to think strategically. I want to play a little bit of these two spooks.
By the way, the likelihood of a Sunni Muslim like this guy being in a Shiite world of Iran and hanging out there as being no chance.
No.
That is bull crap. They just threw Iran in there because I think this is still part of the scheme to do a false flag so we can invade Iran or bomb them or something.
I think you're right, but there is something else going on. But let's just stick with the idea that Al-Qaeda is now coming back. And I didn't know this, but when we killed Osama bin Laden, we found documents that said he was grooming his son. It's funny. I don't remember this. I mean, and there's the BBC reporting it. I just don't remember this. So then one brilliant, I think he's from Egypt maybe, one brilliant journalist remembered some of the things that we were always laughing about. If you recall, Al-Qaeda did a lot of branding and rebranding. Do you remember this? It was always, they're rebranding themselves.
That's when they were doing their franchising.
Yes, the franchising.
Al-Qaeda
yes, the franchising. When they went to the franchise board and started the franchising, that's when we got all these different rebranding efforts. And one of the journalists asked the two state spooks about it.
I was wondering whether you could elaborate a bit more. Also, the question of rebranding of certain groups.
Is no other terrorist organization in the world has ever talked about rebranding but Al-Qaeda. It's branding. But this guy's kind of onto it. He says some interesting things.
I think there was a rumor a few years ago that Al-Qaeda or other fundamental radical groups had then taken the label of ISIS because it was very successful. And so I suppose there's no coincidence that now that the fortune of ISIS is going down, that you are reminding the world that Al-Qaeda is still out there.
I found his way of framing this question, the tense, very interesting. He says, hey, I guess that now that ISIS is kind of on the outs, it's no coincidence you guys are reminding us that Al-Qaeda is still out there.
Yeah, it's an insulting question.
Because
he's saying,
yes,
in essence, that this is bullshit, and we'll listen to what you have to say.
Precisely.
Well, I suppose there's no coincidence that now that the fortune of ISIS is going down, that you are reminding the world that Al-Qaeda is still out there.
On the question of shifting allegiances, ISIS grew out of Al-Qaeda. The organization we now know as ISIS was originally known as Al-Qaeda in Iraq. So we have to be aware of the fact that boundaries between organizations can sometimes be fluid. And as one rises and one falls, there might be movement between them.
Listen to this bullshit.
This is good.
This guy he's not answering the question because he knows he's been had, and he's just talking marketing briefing crap at this point. In a terrorism briefing.
To be aware of the fact that boundaries between organizations can sometimes be fluid.
Yes, I know. It's a Hard Rock East, Hard Rock West. You never know who you're dealing with.
And as one rises and one falls, there might be movement between them. It's a risk. And so we address the risk and prepare for it. As far as rebranding, the problem that we've encountered around the world in a number of different countries is efforts by al-Qaeda networks, affiliates, individuals to portray themselves as more moderate, to portray themselves not as terrorists but as political actors. The United States is not fooled by these efforts. If you walk like a terrorist and talk like a terrorist, you're a terrorist.
Oh, okay.
And our designations policy reflects that reality.
And that's our policy. If you walk like a terrorist and talk like a terrorist, dang nabbit, you're a terrorist, son. It's like if you're innocent until alleged of a crime. It was very, it's like, okay, this guy definitely set those, got him on sharp. Like, okay. The Today Show is the final compilage clip here. The Today Show added another gem because remember, we're doing this for a reason. To put up to $1 million bounty on this guy's head, which was the lead. It was the headline. They had a big poster on stage. Up to little letters. Up to
a guy we never heard of. And like I said in the newsletter, and I had a great picture of him, by the way. You probably didn't catch it.
I did. I saw it.
With a "Don't drone me, bro."
Yeah, don't drone me, bro.
Yes. This is what it looks like. He looks like a guy. If you look at that picture, he looks like a guy who thinks himself as a lady killer.
I also believe he's 33 years old. I've seen different numbers in the reports.
I've only seen 30, but 33 is funnier.
It's much funnier.
But he looks like the lady guy. As a ladies man.
He's a ladies man. All right.
He's also wearing that black rope around his headdress. Mm-hmm. And generally speaking, the super terrorists, the ones that are really
super terrorists,
they're super terrorists. They never wear that. That's considered an adornment. That's an insult to Allah.
Really?
And so they generally don't wear them. And so when you see a group of people and they're the ones without that black thing going around there that's tightened up, it's like a band,
right?
If they're not wearing that, and I don't think Osama normally wore one either. That's usually someone who's an extremist, and they're always, you can see them, they're all over the place. And this kid having that on really makes me question. And then it's white. It could have been a Saudi color, which would be red checked. I mean, there's a lot of things that are wrong with this thing is bull crap.
Oh yeah. Well,
but I'm thinking, and I want you to think about this. If Osama was CIA from the get-go, which some people believe.
Sure.
And it's one of the many ways you can look at the alternate histories if he was CIA.
Well, let's just say Al Qaeda is CIA.
Well, the whole shebang. ISIS is State Department. But let's just say that if he was CIA, is it possible that the kid is like an asset that needs to be what do you call when you get the guy out of the field? You have to
extracted.
He has to be extracted.
No. This kid may not even be alive. It's unimportant.
It may not. And let me ask one more thing: how many kids overall did Osama have?
Oh, 80?
No.
I think he had 6 or 8.
No. He had. They don't even know, but it's between 20 and 26 kids.
But this one, they found the writings that this one was being groomed. This is the one. This was the favorite. This is the guy. He's taken over. He's becoming the new leader. He's put out stuff on the internet, which I haven't seen. I haven't heard it. I haven't looked at this site Intel group yet, but I'm sure they have something that they put up there that sounds like somebody being pissed off about America. It is revenge. So, he's saying, I'm going to attack the U.S. I'm going to attack their allies in Western Europe. This means we have to go get this guy. We got to find him. We got to smoke him out. And just to add a little bit of just some nice color, NBC Today Show, they deserve a gold star.
Hamza bin Laden, classified as a terrorist by the U.S. government since 2017. But now they're upping the ante and offering money for information on his whereabouts. His father was the world's most infamous terrorist, responsible for the 9/11 attacks on the United States. Now, the son of Osama bin Laden, Hamza, has a bounty on his own head. This morning, the U.S. State Department is offering up to $1 million reward for anyone who can reveal Hamza bin Laden's whereabouts. According to the State Department, Hamza is emerging as a leader of al-Qaeda and has released video calling for attacks on the U.S., revenge for his father's death.
I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
His father, Osama, and brother, Khalid, killed by U.S. Navy SEALs during a raid in Pakistan in 2011. Relatively little is known about Hamza. He's thought to be around 30 years old and was most recently seen at his wedding in video released by the CIA several years ago.
Wait for it.
It's believed he may have married the daughter of Mohammed Atta, the lead hijacker and mastermind of the 9/11 attacks.
I mean, does it get any better?
Oh, please.
The son of Osama bin Laden, who masterminded the 9/11 attacks, has gotten married to the daughter of Mohammed Atta. It just doesn't get better than this. This guy is really evil.
2 years ago, Hamza bin Laden was named a specially designated global terrorist by the United States. On Friday, Saudi Arabia announced it had revoked his citizenship, but his whereabouts remain a mystery. Guys, It is not just a cash reward. The U.S. government is also promising absolute confidentiality and even relocation for anyone who comes forward with information.
There it is, John. They will relocate us. We can start a new podcast under new names, new identities with $1 million, cool mill in our pocket, up to. And I'd like this show to take credit because I know exactly where he is.
All right, we're listening.
And I've been paying attention to the region because you've been talking about some kind of strike, some false flag. We've been analyzing what can be done with Iran. Now, obviously, he's not hiding in Iran. But do I think I know? Yes. I went and looked up news stories, country after country, and wow, I think I hit it. I can, with a surety, say Hamza bin Laden is hiding out in Tajikistan. To be specific, Anyi, 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 Tajikistan. I think he may even have an existing compound there that he owned or his dad owned. And if you look at what's happening with Tajikistan, we have a number of problems. Just this morning, children barred from attending church, 5,000 Bible verse calendars burned. Tajikistan. Kidnapped Tajik activist. Tajikistan is terrible, horrible. No, it's the worst ever. I mean, these are M5M headlines from the past 24 hours. My favorite, though, has got to be this one.
This week's China News headlines. Remember, you never saw us here. That's what this Chinese soldier told a Washington Post reporter in Tajikistan. I'm guessing that soldier has never met a reporter before. The soldier was shopping in a small bazaar in southeastern Tajikistan, near the borders with China and Afghanistan. It's about 85 miles from a secret Chinese military outpost. I mean, not so secret that you can't see it from satellite photos, or in this photo taken by the Washington Post reporter, or from the reports of nearby villagers who say they've seen dozens, possibly hundreds of Chinese troops over the past 3 years. But other than that, nobody knows about China's secret military base in Tajikistan, unless you watch China Uncensored, or read the Washington Post.
Yeah, obviously it's very difficult to get clips about China from Chinese news organizations if they do any news on this.
Actually, Chinese Uncensored is in English, I believe.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's kind of it's a sarcastic news podcast. Well, I just wanted the piece about I just wanted some audio, really, of the Chinese base, which initially India was going to take over this base and build it up. And then Tajikistan cut a new deal with the Chinese. And if you look at the location of Tajikistan, it is in the perfect strategic spot to do all kinds of crazy shit. And we probably should stop the Chinese while we're at it because they are starting a base right there. Now's the time to go in. Now's the time to go after some terrorist. We can smoke them out. And I am telling the U.S. authorities right now that is not that they don't know it, because, of course, they know exactly what they're going to do. It's not about finding him. It's who do we need to rubbleize next? I'm calling Tajikistan.
Well, I'm not going to argue with that would be the target for rebelization, although I think I think the real target for rebelization is Iran, but if this happens, it wouldn't surprise me.
But it's a perfect spot. It's right there. China, Afghanistan, Pakistan.
It's right in the middle of everything.
It's a beautiful space.
If I'm not mistaken, it's supposed to be a really cool place to visit.
It's a great country for entertaining.
I'll have to look into Tajikistan. You got me a little flat-footed.
Yeah, it's I've been paying attention. I thought maybe Kyrgyzstan, but there's nothing. Kyrgyzstan is nothing but good news. Kyrgyzstan fighting prejudice one hijab at a time. So they're all the good guys over there in Kyrgyzstan, but Tajikistan, yeah. So we will probably wind up killing this kid in Tajikistan, throw his body in the water, according to Muslim tradition. Make sure we have pictures that we can't
within 10 minutes.
Yeah, make sure we have pictures we can't ever show you because you'd be too horrified. Versus anything on Netflix. Okay, that's fine. Now the timeline I don't know, but it seems like they this up to $1 million bucks.
I'll play you just because this is so out of the blue.
Exactly.
This kid that it's almost like people should be shaking their heads saying, what did he, and specifically, what has he done? They ran the story before they even had any horror stories they could tell about him.
Yeah.
They're developing those now.
Yes. Well,
is my guess.
Yes. Witness he probably married Muhammad Atta's daughter. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that sounds pretty lame.
That's just now you're pushing it.
But the entire news media is all over the story, and I have the PBS report, which is Bin Laden kid. What did he do is my question, and this is only 20. They only gave him 25 seconds.
Okay.
The U.S. Department of State is offering a $1 million bounty.
Why is no one correct on this? Why don't they say what it really is? Up to $1 million. I mean, how can you?
It's a journalistic error.
Yes.
The U.S. Department of State is offering a $1 million bounty for information leading to the capture of Osama bin Laden's son, Hamza. He's believed to be the new leader of al-Qaeda. Hamza bin Laden has threatened attacks against the U.S. and its allies in retaliation for his father's death in 2011. The government of Saudi Arabia has also announced that it has stripped bin Laden's citizenship.
Again, this stripping the citizenship, it's, to me, and to no agenda thinkers, it's obvious. It's obvious it's bullcrap. I mean, he's just, stripped him of his citizenship. Well, that must mean he's a terrorist.
The whole thing is, anyway, it's obviously leading into something else, and we'll see what it is. But
yeah, exactly.
It's a scam.
I found another little gem for us to discuss. Ebola in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is another thing that we're trained to be on the lookout for. When it's like Ebola strikes, there's always military that goes in after that, and typically there's no huge epidemic of Ebola. And we went through it. We went through that. We went through Zika.
Yeah, somebody gets rousted that we never hear about.
So now we're back to the Democratic Republic of Congo, which still is in strife because of their elections and shills being put in, a very important country, mainly for the northern part where we have the small batch artisan cobalt being mined by small batch children, fingers bleeding, and that goes into your iPhone or your Huawei or whatever it is. There's Chinese all over the place there. So, it's there's issues and we need to protect that. And so we had Doctors Without Borders up there, Médecins Sans Frontières, doing their thing with Ebola. And strangely enough, the population there is so angry that they think it's a good idea to go and break down and burn this tent city of people who have Ebola inside of it. And so I'm sure that's really believable that the population who's seen people shit their guts out and die although we really don't have any footage of that recently. We just see some tents and stuff and some doctors. But okay, we'll have to believe it. So, yeah, you know what? Let's just go and torch the place.
The first attack was last Sunday night.
Yeah, it started around 10 o'clock.
Emmanuel Massar is the on-the-ground emergency coordinator for Doctors Without Borders. He says anywhere from 20 to 100 men converged on their treatment center in a rural area called Katwa.
And they started to throw stones inside, and then they started to put part of the center on fire, all the logistical and water and sanitation equipments.
After about 15 minutes, they scattered, but the center was already in ruins. The next attack was Wednesday night at a treatment center 7 miles away in a city called Butembo. This was even more violent.
So a car was used to break the gate. There was men inside. They divide in different teams. They start to destroy things. They started shooting.
The police arrive. There was a 30-minute gun battle in which one officer was killed. And meanwhile, there are nearly 60 patients in the center suspected or confirmed to have Ebola. Many of them just picked up and ran. Massar arrived on the scene.
Okay, so you're in the tent dying of Ebola, and you just pick up and run. I mean,
that sounds pretty sketchy.
Yeah.
Soon after, and he says everyone was traumatized.
You are afraid for your life. You'd feel completely helpless.
Most of the patients have been located and moved to a center operated by another charity called Alima. Mistrust is high in this part of Congo. He notes that it's an isolated, impoverished area with a history of armed conflict that's made people wary of outsiders. And they've never seen Ebola before. So it's not surprising that they're going to be suspicious.
Oh, I know. And now, all of a sudden, these people have never seen Ebola before. It's as if they threw that in there so that you can understand why these morons would want people with Ebola running around. I'm sure they know what Ebola is. This can't be a truthful report.
Impoverished area with a history of armed conflict that's made people wary of outsiders. And they've never seen Ebola before. So it's not surprising that they're going to be suspicious when a bunch of foreigners show up and start insisting that as soon as your child or mother has a fever.
What this sounds like here is a cover story for what this really is, which is probably a bunch of yahoos with guns hiding in these tents to do whatever. And now it's like, well, of course, these people have never seen Ebola. They don't really. I'm sure they were worried about this. Doctors Without Borders have been in Africa for decades. And now, now we're worried about them? You're covering NPR.
With a history of armed conflict.
Somebody is.
Yeah.
That's made people wary
I don't think NPR knows what's going on at all, and they're just giving us a bogus report that somebody gave them to read.
Outsiders. And they've never seen Ebola before. So it's not surprising that they're going to be suspicious when a bunch of foreigners show up and start insisting that as soon as your child or mother has a fever, you have to send them off to strangers in these plastic suits. The group won't resume operations until it can be sure that it has the full support of the community.
We have not been communicating enough with the population.
Normally, Doctors Without Borders specializes in caring for patients. But they're thinking, in this case, maybe they need to shift gears and focus on engaging the community.
Okay, so they need more PR to explain to the Africans there who apparently are stupid what's really going on. What caught my eye in all reports of this is the line, they have temporarily handed over operations to Alima, which I had never heard of before.
I have. We've talked about him, I think.
Alima is the Alliance for International Medical Action. Yeah. I can't remember, but I did look up their board of directors. Well.
Yes, golly, I bet you that you found something.
Yes, besides, the president, Dr. Pierre Crémieux, he's from Scandinavia, and he worked at the Analysis Group. I don't even have to tell you what kind of think tank that is. But right underneath him, the former director of the Clinton Health Access Initiative is on the board of directors.
The phony pill deliverers.
Oh, yeah. Then we've got a Woods Hole person. That's a spook. Then we have, where was my favorite here? We have Catherine Dumais-Harper. She's from the working group in the Security Council, which is a non-governmental organization. Sounds like something medical to me. Not really. Then we have some bankers. Augustine Augier, Secretary General of Alima, co-opted board member of Alima USA. And then a very interesting Glenda Hirsch. Because, if you're an organization like this, and what we kind of believe, I believe it, is that these organizations are staging things. They're covering up. They're fronts. Glenda Hirsch, an Emmy award-winning television producer.
The hell she got to do with this?
Well, when I saw her description, Emmy award-winning producer and co-president of Truly Original Media, two of television's leading producers of unscripted programming, I went, I wonder what she really does and why she is the owner of the production company that produces Real Housewives of Atlanta, Stripped, Ink Angel, Summer House, Hack My Life, Our Wild Life. She's a reality television producer. That makes sense. This is the kind of person you want on your board if you're creating some kind of disinformation.
Wag the dog.
Yes, exactly. So we need to keep our eye on DRC because there's...
Thumbs up.
Yeah, well, control of the minerals.
The thing that gets me, I think you were explaining that you have that little transition where the Doctors Without Borders have to set this thing up and, okay, we're giving you a lot of money. You can use the money. Okay, we'll do it. And then they got fed up and said, you guys take it now. Hey, we're doing this for you. Here's your handover.
Yeah, see ya.
You're getting it a little sooner than you wanted, but we got to get out of here.
And in the black trunks, weighing in at over 3,000 troops, the ISIS of virus, the killer from Nigeria, Ebola.
That's right. It will take over. Can't wait to see what the next move is. But we've got our eye on you.
Yeah, well, we'll figure it out.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in C-SPAN 3, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Kerr. Also in the morning of boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, all the days and nights out there.
In the morning to the troll room. Trolls, thanks for being here. Met a lot of the trolls at the meetup yesterday, and they are at noagendastream.com, where they're always hanging out and giving us one-liners, keeping us on the straight and narrow, and trolling, just pure trolling, ugly-ass trolling. We love them for it, noagendastream.com.
What do they do?
Oh, they make, sarcastic jokes.
Oh, you mean in the chat room?
That's why we call it the troll room. Exactly.
The troll room.
In the morning to Adam at Sea. Now, this was a classic evergreen that we used on the artwork for episode 1116.
It was from years ago.
Yes, it was, I think it was 6 years old.
I don't even think that guy even listens to the show anymore.
He may not. He didn't claim his prize for being chosen as artwork. But it was a beautiful piece. A little 33. I think it was a house number sign. Yeah, very artsy.
It was artsy.
And the title of that episode was GNDMOUROY, which, if you were wondering, stands for Green New Deal Memorandum of Understanding Return on Investment. Very relevant to that episode. And we thank Adam at Sea, wherever he is, if he's lost at sea. If he's man overboard. We, he's an Adam at Sea. We appreciate the work that all of our artists do. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com is where you can look at everything. You can use it. It gets used on cool items. Like NoAgendaShop.com is truly a masterful resource, and we appreciate that. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com. So...
Okay, so we have a few people to thank. Now, do you have a separate list, or are they all incorporated in here?
No, I have a separate list. I have a separate list and notes.
Do you want to do that as a separate segment?
No, I think we should do it now. I think we do it all together. I mean,
okay, well, let's start. We're doing associate executive and executive producers for show 1117.
Well,
okay.
What do you? No, I can't. What do you? No. We're going to do the meetup first.
It's up to you.
Yeah, I think we should do
so I was asking.
Yeah, maybe misunderstood. Yeah, I'd like to do the meetup notes first, and I'm go through them as quick as possible.
And we do all the meetup notes like you did last time?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you do that, and then we'll go to the regular list.
Yes, good idea. All right, and I have notes, so, and we had 2 nightings and a daming on site with yet again, brandishing a weapon in public. It's you know if there's a sword flashing.
These days.
If you know there's a sword.
Excuse me. You're under arrest.
Sword flashing. You know it's the No Agenda crew. We start off with one of those.
And I want to remind everybody, I'm not doing this.
Yes, we understand. So one of those knightings was Paul Wilson, and he will be knighted today officially on the show as Sir Paul, the Trusted Advisor, and he wanted to thank Gretchen, a.k.a. G Money, who was damed yesterday. She's G Money, the hysteria skeptic, for hitting him in the mouth 2 years ago. He says, with this instant knighting, I'd like to be known henceforth as Sir Paul, the Trusted Advisor, and no longer as Paul, the douchebag from Dallas. Please de-douche me. Hold on a second. Let me get the de-douche out. Let me turn on the faucet here.
You've been de-douched.
And let me see. He wanted some startup karma, and it was a little hard for us to decipher on the note if he wanted manufacture karma or malfunction karma. We weren't quite. I think manufacture karma is probably what he wanted, and respects.
R-E-S-P-I-C-T. You've got karma.
Moving along, Joshua Cox, $100 no note, and it was very nice to meet Dame Jennifer Ouida of the Gypsy Nation there, and she, of course, is she was his partner to Sir Greg, who passed away recently, and so it was very nice to have her there, and everyone got to chat with her, and you know, I think it was a very supportive group, so it was nice, and I hadn't met her in person. And she sent a nice note. Adam and Tina, thank you for having this meetup. It was good to finally visit Austin to see you on your home ground. Enclosed a donation in memory of Sir Greg Davies, the heavy metal historian. He would have loved to have been here. And she provided us with $50, and we appreciate that. Then Shannon Brame. Again, some of the notes were kind of hard to read. I believe she's Dame Shanark. Does that ring a bell with you, John? Maybe. $60. We have James. Now, James came in with $400. It was $200 from him, $200 from his smoking hot girlfriend, Mel. De-douched at last, he says. Yes, here we go.
You've been de-douched.
Please accept $200 from me, James, and $200 from my smoking hot lady, Mel, a dudette named Ben, or Bernadette, as you prefer. We've enjoyed your show for quite a while, but have not contributed yet. It feels so good to finally chip in. Keep up the great work on the best podcast in the universe. Send some jobs karma to my man, Marcus, a dude named Ben, who is looking for a new gig. He also wanted Rubbleizer, so I guess they both have jingles here. Wanted Rubbleizer, wanted some Yoko, which we can facilitate. Wanted some chemtrails, and then for Mel, we have a Sharpton Respect. And an Obama chicken dance is going to be a long one, but it is 2-in-1, so we'll accept that. And a foamer, and then, of course, we'll have the jobs karma.
India, Tango, Mike, stand by, 33, 33, 33, Rubbleizer out.
Chemtrails.
R-E-S-P-I-C-T.
Oh my God! Woo! Listen to that horn!
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
Okay. Then we have Alex B., Baronet Sir Economic Hitman, $50, and he had a very long note. But he said, some producer out there needs to make a document of the day jingle. How many times has JCD said, this would be clip of the day if it were a clip? after Adam reads something that
I've
was
said it twice.
that was not an audio or video clip, but some article or piece of legislation or document. Baronet, Sir Economic Hitman. Alex, thank you very much.
Is he an economic hitman?
I believe so. We didn't get into it, but Grant Key, $187. He's going to keep the letter brief, he says, but please de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
Thank you both for keeping my millennial mind healthy with your impeccable media deconstruction. I often describe No Agenda as a critical thinking podcast, and my life wouldn't be the same without you. Shout out to my local Austin band, Lopa Static. Karma, please. You got it, Grant.
You've got karma.
Jerry B. from California, $140. No note, requesting a donation. De-douching.
You've been de-douched.
Next, we have Kevin Roa. No note, but he did want 2 to the head. $60. Thank you very much. Stevie B, $56, needs a de-douching. I think we have his note here. I've been listening about 3 years, first-time donor, so I would like a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
I'd like to call out my brother Lee, who hit me in the mouth, and Anthony the trucker, who I hit in the mouth, as douchebags. Douchebag. Guess we have to do 2. Douchebag. John, this is written in a Papermate Ink Joy pen. Thank you for that. And Adam, enjoy the bud. Send over an invisible hat. Okay. It's on his way, your invisible No Agenda hat. Rob and Jamaica Morzart, $33.33. These were very interesting people. They had different vocations, and they moved to Texas. And actually, I think their house was in the Bastrop fire and was completely burned about 9 years ago. And then that's when they decided to change what they were doing. First thing they did is they milled all the wood from their 9 acres, took it off to the mill, and built a house out of the wood that was still left. And it was a bad fire if you look it up. And now they have a new business, which seems to be doing very well for themselves. They're very happy. It's called awesomeurns.com. Something for you and I to take note of, John. awesomeurns.com, where you can get a really awesome urn for your loved one's ashes. And they have quite a variety of things to take a look at.
It's kind of an odd thing. I guess you have a big fire burns rising to the ground, and this is where you get the idea?
I think so. Yeah. Or it was something, ashes to ashes. It was something beautiful about it. And they're doing very well with this. So good on them. We have Tori with $33. Now that I'm thinking about it, you haven't talked about the digital book burning that's been going on. Here it is. Adam, in the morning, Adam and John, I'm sending my cash. First-time donor. Okay, de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
Grateful for the sanity. Keep it up, guys. The donation and trip to the meetup is my early birthday gift to myself. I'll be 28 on March 11th. I need some jobs. Karma, please. Thank you, guys, from Tori.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Jason C., $100, crackpot and buzzkill, first-time donor after years of freeloading. Love the amazing media deconstruction and analysis, so this meager donation is not nearly enough. New job, so hope to donate more soon. I read Industrial Society and Its Future twice. I'm a senior student of Professor Ted. Thanks for recommending it. He is dead on in his manifesto. You said he might have a book coming out. I'm afraid to search engine it. Thanks for your hard work. Bring such entertaining and educational show, and a de-douching for you.
You've been de-douched.
Wes and Julie Harris, $20. Thank you so much, both of you. Steve R., he sent a jingle through the email that he wanted me to use. Dearest Podfather and the JCD includes, and this is new, the JCD. Enclosed, please find my donation of $100 in fiat currency. This is my first donation and my last moment as a lurking douchebag. I humbly request a de-douching with a special request to use the upgraded jingle sent earlier today. This jingle closes with an analog bass line made with the Livewire AFG VCO plus Frequency Steiner VCF that replaces the general MIDI-sounding FM joint on the stock version. Shout out to the suit and tie guy for hitting me in the mouth. Synthplex sucks. KnobCon forever.
You've been de-douched.
Okay, it's his request, his new one. Eric, and this was an interesting note I got from Eric, and Eric gave us $100 and a bereavement card. With deepest sympathy, it says on the front, and in the middle, thinking of you and wishing you comfort during this time of sorrow. I don't know why he chose this card, but he says, Adam and John, thank you for keeping me sane through the years, from recording studios in Chicago through the jingle and swamps of Atlanta and Orlando to the world of finance in Dallas. You've been with me all the way. I dedicate my karma to Juicebox Wet International Worldwide, home of underground hits such as Body Shame, Starbugs, and a crowd favorite, Big Girls, Big Data by Sorority Sister. Speaking of bugs, included in my donation is a tab of the aptly dubbed MK Ultra LSD. Please see included dosing instructions. John, there's a tab of LSD inside the bereavement card. Is he trying to tell me something? And it's like, what was he at I forgot where the instructions were. I've never actually seen a tab of LSD. It's very small.
No, it's not much to it.
Can you just lick it?
Just
That's not a good idea during the show, I don't think. Oh, here's the instructions. Take 1/16, that's a microdose. Less is always more. 1/4 if you want to listen to your favorite record. 1/2 if you want to die an ego death. If you take the whole tab, buy the ticket, take the ride. Sincerely, Eric. Thank you very much, Eric. It's a novel gift. Roag, Sir Roag, Viscount of the Palouse, $100, and he's the one that gave you the huge card that folded out at the meeting.
Oh, yes.
So he found another one, got me one of those. Dude of the Critical Infrastructure, $100. Dear Screwball and Nutjob, please forgive the handwriting. It comes from being a dude named Ben. Please keep this donation anonymous. Just call me a dude of the critical infrastructure. Hopefully soon to be sir. Thank you for all you both do. Please accept this pittance of a value for all the value y'all have given me. 33 times 3 plus a penny for the jar. Got it. Enjoy the challenge coins. Ah, yes. He had nice challenge coins, which I'm not allowed to mention, but you have one coming your way. Eric the Shield taking that back today. A project that was the most stressful 2 months of my career. Securing the grid is no easy task, and we'll just leave it at that. And thank you very much, sir, for your support of the show. David Hunt, $50.32. Been listening since around show 400. You and John have had an impact on my life. Thank you for the value, David from Fort Worth. And there's another penny that was included in there.
A lot of pennies flying around.
Yeah, lots of pennies. People like the pennies. Lily and Harry, $369.12. My smoking hot wife and I have been douchebags since before the Hot Pockets 2008 tour, and I thought it would be most appropriate to make amends at the Austin meetup. I happen to be a dude named Brent, which I've been coining for those of us systems engineers who've moved over to this newfangled DevOps paradigm that the Phoenix Project has popularized. Brent is a colorful character in this book. Enclosed a check for $369.12, which comes out to 3333 in 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 in numerology quackery. I'd like to apply it towards Lily's future damehood and would request a respect jingle. And I must say that Lily brought a beautiful candle for Tina the Keeper. And this is a very, very nice gift. Very, very sweet. Thank you for doing that. It is highly appreciated, and it smells nice here.
RESPICT.
$50.
Got karma.
$50 from Damon, and he will be knighted today as Sir D, and it's all $33 donations. So he did $33 a month, and he has made his knighthood, and he wants Dr. Pepper and beef jerky at the round table, both of which will be available in abundance. Sir Moser, the Moserian Knight of the 33rd Parallel, $333.33. Adam and John, it has been a while since my last donation, so I thought I'd take the opportunity of attending the Texas meetup to refresh my karma pool. Seems like the cosmos has been prompting me to donate to the best podcast in the universe for a few months now, as my car odometer rolled over 33,333.33 during road construction. I've been taking exit 33 to get to work and parking behind countless cars with 33 in the license plate. Did you get the message yet? However, the tipping point had to be when I put the Texas meetup in Google Maps, and the first time the trip from home was estimated 3 hours and 33 minutes. He actually provided a copy of the printout, and it is indeed 220 miles, 3 hours, 33 minutes. The message is clear. I had to donate. 333.33. No jingles, but could we have some goat karma, as it always makes me and my wife laugh hysterically. Sir Moser the Moserian, Knight of the 33rd Parallel.
You've got karma.
Then we have Sir Rutherford the Brave, and I believe he emailed a note. See, now I'm just like you, John. Except I don't have squirrel mail. Squirrel mail. I think it actually may be for his knighting. I'll have to look it up and make sure I have that. He will be knighted today. During the segment, I'll see if I can find his note. Dave the Mormon, $111.11, and he wants a generic jobs karma. Yes, my handwriting sucks. This small donation of $111.11 will go a little way towards returning some of the value I've gotten from the show over the years. I blame you and RT for showing me that the facts are malleable, and it's important to think for yourself and not just regurgitate talking points. Love and light, Dave the Mormon. Generic jobs karma.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Miss Jamie of the Highway came in with $60. I'm sad. I know I spoke with her, but I didn't quite realize. I think she's N3EOP, November 3 Echo Oscar Papa. I believe she's a very famous ham radio operator, also pilot, from north of us here in Texas. So thank you for your support, Miss Jamie. I'm sorry I didn't figure it out soon enough. I had some questions to ask you. Sir Eric Cowley, what?
Too late.
Yeah. Well, she's in Texas.
Snubbed the poor woman.
I did not. I'm busy. I'm sure I met her. I know I met her, but I didn't put two and two together. Sir Eric Cowley, $60. No jingles, no karma. Sir Terry, the Knight of Gowley's Ridge, $60. No note. Baron Gordon Walton, $220, and he wants that applied to Catherine Walton, his daughter, for her road to damehood, starting with an associate executive producership on the show today. Dame Firecracker. And she was there, and she gave $719.94 to the cause, and this is for her husband, who will be knighted as Sir Et, Slayer of the Dragons. Her note, this donation is enough to have my husband next to me at the table. Please knight him with the above name. This is in celebration of the past year's success and upcoming 25th anniversary. Thanks for being such a great partner. That's what she's saying to him. Thanks, Adam and John, for all the great deconstruction you do. Love and light, Dame Firecracker. And she wants... What does she want here? She wanted... whooping with the Constitution. So we'll do a whooping with the Constitution and a karma.
Now get out there and whoop Obama's behind. Whooping, 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 whooping with the Constitution. Whooping, 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 whooping with the Constitution. Whooping, 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 whooping with the Constitution. Whooping, whooping, whooping all of their behinds with the Constitution. Whooping!
You've got karma.
Anonymous Frost Banker, $20. This is a de-douche moment for him.
You've been de-douched.
And we'll put some karma then for his buddy, young musician, for karma for a young musician. And he did want to mention that Travis is a douchebag. Taken care of. Sir Terbo Hodgson and his wife, Laura. They came in with $100, a handwritten note. Last October, I made a boob donation, which sent my husband Billy into knighthood. It was a surprise, so I picked up his knight name, and he was to follow up. He is Sir Terbo, and the last name is Hodgson. This is from her, from wife Laura. We are so excited to be at the meetup and are deeply grateful for all the hard work that y'all do to help keep us sane. Best wishes. This is a recurring theme. People saying thank you. It's really kept us. There's not like the no agenda people at these meetups. There wasn't even that much political talk. Just people hanging out and talking about life. And no one's really like some kind of raving right or lefty. I mean, it's just all over the place. There was one guy showed up with a Congressional Dish T-shirt. That's how he heard about us, through Jen Briney, which is kind of cool in a reverse type way. So it was a very, very good group. Sir John the Brewer, Baron of the Bay, $50. He wanted some karma for family member who passed away this week. I happily do that, of course.
You've got karma.
Brian Doerr, Doerr. I wonder if he's related to the famous John Doerr. $333.33. No jingles, no karma, but thank you very much for your courage. Stephen Myers, he says, "Dear John Adam, forgive me as a boob donation, $80.08. Forgive me, it's been way too long since my last donation. The intervening years, I had a mental breakdown, and the only shows I missed were during my month-long stay at the Looney Bin." Their filters block the show. What? This is exactly where you want our show to be available. They can't block us from the Looney Bin, but they did. I'm much better now and can use some getting laid karma. Steve Myers, Austin, Texas. Yes, sir, we got that for you.
You've got karma.
Zach and Cassidy Eastwood, $100. Nice card. Thank you. I hope this and future donations help you to know how much we appreciate what you do. I hope you continue for years to come. The crazier the news gets, the more we need our guardians of reality, especially up to the 2020 elections. Do not quit. Okay, thank you. Zach and Cassie. Michael Shane, $60, no note. We have Sir Tyler Fox, who's the man with the Mooney, who hopefully I'll be flying with in a few months. Finally, ITME says, this donation kicks me over into Viscount territory. The title change song will be more than enough to make my day, so NJ. However, I could really use some moving karma right now, please. And thank you very much. You guys rock. And thank you, Sir Tyler Fox. It was nice to meet you in person.
You've got karma.
Anonymous, $145. That's a couple of anonymi combined. Sir Ducifer, $150. And, somehow, I don't know. Oh, what did I miss? Yes, I missed Gretchen Wittig. There we go. Dame G Money, the hysteria skeptic. And she donated $350 and gave us the following note. In the morning, Adam and John, this donation earns me a damehood. She was damed on the spot. Please dame me, Dame G Money, the hysteria skeptic. And you write that as G $, but you pronounce it as G Money. Please play the OMG Amazing. I thought she wanted... we can do that. Amazing, yes. And what's the next one? Because it truly is stay cool. Don't go to Spotify. I love your work.
Oh my God, that is amazing! You've got karma.
Stephen C. Rink, $320.33. That is a combined 4 boobs. Thank you very much. Sir Boobs, 8008. Sir 8008. Sir Boobs. Sir Ducifer. Who is our buddy over there at InfoWars, was propagating the formula, $150. He has a knight, of course. He is the Sir Ducifer Knight of 4 Strings, Funk, 4 Kids, and Time Travel. Thanks for all the news analysis and tidbits of knowledge. Always helps me when they call me in to sub on one of the InfoWars shows. Jingles, whooping with the Constitution. Let me get the whoop it ready. Whooper with the Constitution also wants a chemtrails, popular today. The Berkeley Hummer. Okay. And Goat Karma. For all knights and producers, belated birthday wishes to my 2 oldest boys, Morgan, who turned 14, Quincy, who's 9, and my super awesome wife, Trish, who's barely a day over 35. All February birthdays, and we say happy birthday to all of you.
Get out there! Whooping with the Constitution!
Obviously, I read the New York Times like all day long, mainly on my iPad app.
You've got karma.
And we're getting to the end here. Nico Renna. No, wait. Lee first, $100. He says, thank you for your courage. Nico Renna, $355.69. I believe Nico will be knighted today. Then we have Dominic Vitali. And Dominic, his mom brought him down from, I believe, the Dallas area. Dad had to stay home with the two younger kids. Dominic is 13 years old. And for his birthday, all he wanted was to attend the No Agenda meetup in Austin. And it was very nice of Mom to drive you down. And he has a cool note here. Adam and John, thank you for all you do. Adam, thank you for meeting me. I'm doing my first donation as I sold the dog tags. I'll tell you about that in a second. But I also request a de-douching and jobs karma for my lawn mowing business. So let me get the de-douching going first here.
You've been de-douched.
And I will hit you with the karma in a moment. So he brought his own cash that he had saved up, but we had the father and son team of Sir Mark and Sir Michael Halby. They're the ones that do the No Agenda tags. We had them in Iowa, where they also showed up and did this, this 3D laser cutter printer thing of each state, which everyone signed. And they had if you recall, John, they had the big value for value tags, No Agenda tags. You just throw in whatever money into the pot and grab one. So as a part of his entrepreneurial spirit, Dominic went into cahoots with these guys, and he was going around everyone saying, hey, you want a tag? This is value for value. Had a sign. He was just carrying it around. So he wound up collecting, which Michael and Mark attribute to him, $308. So that's $288 in dog tags cash sales. You can find those at noagendatags.com, and $20 of his own hard-earned money. He's on his way to knighthood, and we could not be prouder of you. And here's some karma for you.
You've got karma.
And then getting down to the last couple of notes here, we have indeed Sir Mark Halby and Sir Michael Halby, NJ&K. Michael and I would like to make this donation on behalf of our new best friend, Dominic Vitali, who we met at the Austin meetup. We brought the tags from noagendatags.com. Dominic took it upon himself to show the tags to everyone and raise all the money in clothes. This young man truly represents the best of Gitmo Nation. Hope we can make him a knight very soon. Thank you, guys. It was good to see you again. Billy and Luis Villarreal, $300. And dear Adam, John, Tina, Eric the Shill, greetings. I write this in much anticipation of meeting Adam and Tina today. I hope you are both huggers. Let me tell you, she's a hugger for sure. We hugged. With this $300, I will become a dame. My husband, Sir Lamont, says 73s. He's Kilo Delta 5 Alpha Tango X-Ray. We say 73s. Kilo 5 Alpha Charlie Charlie. Thank you for helping me with anxiety. I find it soothing to listen and concentrate on the show. I would like to be called Dame Pill Pusher of South Texas. And to the round table, please bring Dilaudid. How do you pronounce it, John? Dilaudid. It says Dilaudid. Dilaudid and Benadryl.
I don't have the, you had to look at it.
Dilaudid and Benadryl pushed fast. Okay. She wanted, what does she want here? 2 to the head. Can you see that juice? Okay, I think we can do this. Juice. And I had all this so nicely lined up. Here's the juice. Here it is. And I don't know if I have Hillary's laugh. I got clippity clop.
It's clippity clop.
The message is clear.
Just clippity clop.
Oh my gosh. Can you see that juice?
You've got karma.
And we're down to our last note with 3 more mentions to go. John D. Croft, $207.60. He's from Pflugerville. Adam and John, I need to be de-douched.
You've been de-douched.
I've been listening for a while, have not donated, but have definitely found value in our podcast. And he says, the show where agile methodologies were discussed made me literally laugh out loud. The new job that I started back in November uses agile, and it really is smoke and mirrors. One of the best things about this job is the time that it affords me on my commute to consume more podcasts since my commute increased from 25 minutes one way to 70 minutes one way. And he's got some stuff about, of course, he picked up a Raspberry Pi, installed a Pi hole. He says, while I was never a dyed-in-the-wool tinfoil hat guy, I've always been aware the media was not telling the whole story. I remember as a Marine back in the 1990s, we had a government shutdown. We still got paid and everything worked out. The way that the media carried on about it recently was ridiculous. Where I work, we do a lot of charity and volunteer work. We donated the remaining funds left over from our Christmas party to the Austin Food Bank. We just received a letter telling us a story about how our donations specifically helped 2 furloughed government workers. I am closing the thank you letter from the food bank. I find a little off-putting the thank you includes asking for more money. If I mention it on the show, please do not include our company name. Of course, gotcha. He would like some automobile karma since the new job will be racking up the miles on his ride to the tune of $30K per year. NJNK, no, just kidding. He wants the karma. And thank you very much.
You've got karma.
And Jason McKinney, $302. He was knighted. He is Sir Jason of the Null Pointer Exception. Also a ham, Kilo Delta 5, Kilo Mike Alpha 73s. And he will be knighted today. And Kyle Casey, finally $200, who wants a de-douching and jobs karma.
You've been de-douched.
Jobs, jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And as we wrap it up again, thanks to Austin Beer Works, the keg whisperer Ross, who set it all up for us, Sir Gene, Mark Hall, Tina the Keeper, Eric the Shill, of course, who came in specifically for the meetup, was a big hit with the ladies. Everybody loves them some Shill. And everybody else who came was really nice, somewhat humbling, and incredibly energizing, and it was great to meet all of you. And thank you all for your courage.
Great.
Yes, long list.
The one thing about it that you notice is that there's a lot of people that normally don't donate through the normal channels.
Correct. A lot of first timers, a lot of
because they won't donate through the normal channels.
Yeah. And
they'll go to the meetup and then you can donate there. So that's what the reason to do these meetups.
It's probably a very good idea.
Okay, well, let's look at the regular list of people. You don't mind doing that.
New?
I was irked by talking about, you mentioned the huggers. So John Lasseter.
Yes.
Who's fired from Pixar, or not fired, he quit Pixar because he was being berated for being a kind of a hugger in California. Unwanted hugging.
Yes.
Which, I guess could be a problem. But he's an unwanted hugger, so he quit. So he joins this new company, Skydance. There's going to be a huggers there, too, I'm sure. The Skydance has done a number. There's a big production company. They needed a guy they need a creative guy like that. Mm-hmm. And Emma Thompson immediately quits and walks out.
Yeah, right. Weak.
Who does she think she is?
Superstar celebrity.
Well, let's thank a few associate executive producers for show 1117, starting with Christopher O'Cowan in Austin, Texas. Was he at the meetup? 34794.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Yep.
I'll be seeing Adam, the OG DSC listener. I was present when Adam rolled into town during the Hot Pockets tour. I'm still a proud folder. He said.
It's a long story.
Can't you shorten it? With this executive producer donation, I'm changing my title to Baronet. Is he on the list?
Maybe. Good question. I will check.
Please give me a clippity-clop. Don't eat me. And whoop him.
Well, and as I was prepping for this, I was like, maybe we should give him a new "Don't Eat Me" since it's we have moved on in time.
It's clippity-clop.
The message is clear.
Just clippity-clop.
Don't eat me, AOC.
Get out there, whooping with the Constitution. Down.
Sir James Barron of Class G Airspace and Dame Elise in Wiley, Texas, 33333. Were they there?
Yes, absolutely. It was good to meet him because I'd never met the Baron of Class G Airspace.
Want to just say hi. Thanks for what you do. I'm always glad to support you guys. A true value for value as opposed to just chipping in, which is going to be our new theme.
I think Dame Elise I think she's a high school teacher.
Did she chip in?
Oh, yeah. Well, they chipped in right there.
We were able to come from Dallas to the Texas meetup and had fun. It was great to meet Adam and Tina, Baron of Sir Class G Airspace, and Dame Elise, a.k.a. Teach. Sir John Helmer in Shawnee, Kansas, 33333. A lot of that today. I was planning to give this donation to Adam in Des Moines last week. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to come up from Kansas City to join. John, if you organize another train museum meetup, I'll come out to California. People love the train museum.
They do.
Here's your value for value. Thank you for your excellent deconstruction and analysis. You provide twice weekly on Thursday and Thursday. That's a tribute to Adam. Please wish Angie, my MILFy wife of 22 years, a happy birthday on March 7th. Can I get the following jingles? MILF, Charlie Rose, Sexuality, and Goat Karma. Keep up the good work. And he needs an invisible hat.
MILF, that's one mother I'd like to.
Tell me about this sexuality. It's in your DNA.
You've got karma.
There's your Goat Karma. Catch your hat.
In hindsight, that's the creepiest clip we have.
It kind of is. Yes. Who knew? Who knew? We were just joking around. Turns out, guy really is a creep.
Lawrence Abelli. Well, he just likes to walk around naked.
Well, it's not creepy.
Lawrence Abelli. Lawrence Abel or Abelli. Can't tell. Abele in Ventura, California, 13333. He did do an email note. He sends I think he does this every once in a while, this 133 thing. You know what he did? He sent this note in on the 20th, and I got it, and I looked at it. He went through the credit union of Southern California, which forwarded the $333 to us via one of the check servicing companies that sends the checks in. And so it's a roundabout way of doing it, but I was wondering when it was going to come in and how it was going to come in, because I assumed it was pop money or something like that. Thank you for all your incredible insight. Your show is an important part of my balanced mental diet. You help me keep calm in an overstimulated M5M world. Please keep on doing this, and please more crackpot. I missed the second half show segments.
Yes, there were a number of people who asked for this, and I've taken it to heart.
Yeah, well, I'm... jingle request. He wants the arousing. Can you see the juice clip?
Arousing? Can you see the juice clip? Okay.
No, he thinks it's arousing.
Okay.
Clip.
And does he want any karma with that, or are we just go?
I would give him some karma. He didn't.
Oh my gosh! Can you see that juice?
You've got karma.
Before you go on, John, I found the note for Sir Rutherford the Brave. Just quickly, dear John Adam, keeping this short. Thank you for your courage. As always, the show has been on fire as of late. Super happy I was able to give this donation to Adam in person at the Austin meetup. Finally, I gave Adam the long story of me and No Agenda and his advice when I moved to Austin. Thankfully, the job's karma worked. When I became a knight, I had to stop the monthly 1111 during my time of career change and unsure income. But now that things are better, I did the math, and I would have sent $199.98 in that time. So this is $200. It gets me squared away. Just another shot of jobs karma so I can get back on the monthly and throw you guys extra from time to time and worry less about just getting by. Keep up the great work. Sincerely, Sir Rutherford the Brave.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Kyle Parker in Salt Lake City, Utah, 333. Please de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
Please de-douche me. My name is Kyle from SLC, and the threes were just too many. The donation of 333.33 on 33 happens on my 33rd birthday. My smoking hot wife's Janet's 26, and our third anniversary. A jobs karma and a goat kicker, please. Great work.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Ryan Brady. We go to associate executive producers. We got 2 or 3 of them. Ryan Brady in Pittsburgh, $250. He wrote a note in. He actually wrote it out, and then he decided that nobody could read it. It was on a nice card, and then so he typed it.
Oh, we had one of those notes that someone sent us a note that we're the 3 of us last night, and we can't read it, and then out falls a rewritten version of the note, which I think his wife did or something. It's great.
Yeah, there's some people, I guess, they're self-aware about the fact that their handwriting is illegible. Funny, his writing I'm looking at is not that bad. I could have read this. I wouldn't have liked to have read it, but I could have. Hi, ITM. After listening to 2 years and completely derailing show 1000's donation segment, I'm finally ready to ascend to knighthood. I think he's on the list.
He sure is.
Because I put a list on there. You like the title? Sometimes I forget to do that. Like the title, Sir Ryan, Knight of the Three Rivers, in honor of my hometown signature feature, Pittsburgh. The combination of in-depth analysis and witty banter makes the news palatable, since all the M5M sources out there are just screaming at each other from their perspective dimensions. It's nice having breakdowns of all the top stories, as well as non-advertiser-friendly looks into Shantix, the Lear Foundation, many woes of living in the Austin-San Francisco area. I'm another millennial that will be going OTG thanks to Adam's segments, and I'm considering the Light Phone 2 when it releases in July. If not, I will probably get a feature phone that will help me gradually detox from my Galaxy S5. Not a douchebag call-out per se, but surprised I haven't heard more Pittsburgh donations. Time to chip in, chumps.
Chip in, chumps. I like it.
Please play the jingle where John tells us slaves we can get used to mac and cheese, and humbly requesting relationship karma, because there's nothing girls love more than a knight in shining armor. They'll just have to settle for a well-dressed one with a nifty ring and a wax sealer. So he wants mac and cheese and a karma. And I will say this. I want to mention this about Pittsburgh is curiously Dimension B liberal.
Yes.
And all the people I know in California that were like hyper liberal, and they couldn't move to, they either came from, they couldn't move to New York.
This is new that you're using hyper liberal.
Well, it's a word I prefer to progressive.
That's a good one. Hyper liberal. I like that. It's good.
But it means that kind of Bernie Sanders style progressive, AOC style progressive. Right. I consider hyper liberal.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they a lot of them have moved to Pittsburgh. There's a couple big colleges there, Carnegie Mellon and Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh.
Mike's there too. Mike Malaro, who used to live in Austin. Mike and Jane. Yeah. They're there. They got kids now. They got 18 kids.
A lot of people move to Pitt, but it's the hyper liberals that have moved there. It's not like so. I don't think you're going to get many donors because they don't have any interest in this show.
I think Mike is the hyper and Jane is the liberal. So combined, they're hyper liberal. Yes. And he wanted mac and cheese, and what else did he want?
Just some karma. You slaves can get used to mac and cheese, cheap macaroni, and cheap cheddar melted together.
Mac and cheese.
You've got karma.
Relationship karma.
Oh, yes, relationship karma. Right.
Darren Grimes, $222, somewhere in, I believe, Canada.
Yes, this is the Grimerica, the guys from Grimerica.
Sorry, Grimerica guys. Thanks for all your hard work, gents. The guys at Grimerica show request podcast karma for the next week's upcoming number 333 episode, as well as a bit for their new podcast venture, 13 Questions. A show mostly about I think,
wisdom. Mostly for men.
For men. You're both welcome to come on anytime. 13questionspodcast.com. Thank you for your courage.
Yes, and thank you guys. And I still owe you a visit to the Grimerica show. I promise I'm going to do it.
You've got karma.
Patrick Comer of the Southern Cal Hills. I've been buying up Qualcomm and ExxonMobil stock over the last month based on 5G and Venezuelan Guyana stories. I enjoy the coverage showing how corporate companies are profiting. Time to buy in, Adam. Exit strategy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's great. I'll buy in, and that's when the rug gets pulled underneath me. Yeah.
And that concludes our group. No karmas, no nothing for him, no jingles. I want to thank everyone who helped us, everyone that went to the Austin meetup just to show up, California. And but it was, Texas style. I can see that.
We have
all that was missing was the barbecue and the beef ribs.
Well, we had the food truck. The food truck was out there. Okay. Yes, we did. It was a great meetup.
Was it a barbecue food truck?
I had 2 half glasses of beer the entire time I was there. I didn't have any time to eat anything. I was just listening.
2 half glasses of beer, you were plastered.
I was wasted, bro. No. Everyone kept trying to buy me beer. I'm like, no, I'm good. Let me just talk to everybody. But
we got to buy a beer, man. Buy a beer.
What a great community. I know everyone had fun. I know everyone liked hanging out with each other. Congratulate yourself on what you've done with this No Agenda Value for Value community and network. It's fantastic. I'm very proud of what everyone has done.
Some new friends.
Tons. I think everyone made new friends. And it was all across the spectrum, including the huggers. And
kind of a mixer.
Kind of. And we will do more deconstruction for you throughout this show. And, of course, we'd like you to remember for Thursday show, which is coming up. We do it twice a week on Thursdays and on Thursdays. And you can remember us there at Dvorak.org/NA. I don't think I have to tell you how much we do, but what you learn, you take it out and propagate.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order. Shut up, slave. Shut up, slave.
Right.
So we'll do a little media action here, a little media deconstruction.
All right, and we like that. That's what we do sometimes.
Just to show you. I mean, these guys moan and go, "Oh, Trump, he lies 8,000 times." Okay, fine. But these guys are, I mean, the media guys are liars. And I'm going to go to Brooks and Shields, and I'm specifically going to point out Mark Shields' lies.
Mm-hmm.
So let's play. I got 4 clips. I got Brooks and Shields, Cohen Truth Wants PBS. Well, this is okay. Before I play it, this is the Truth Wants to Come Out clip I have with Brooks kind of revealing some interesting aspect of his elitism.
And something I learned at the meetup yesterday, there's so many new people coming on board. People have been listening just a few months. So we got to kind of reiterate some of the stuff. So when we say the truth wants to come out, what we've noticed throughout the years is that when you listen very carefully to people, they will say things that they really believe in without intending to say it. It's up to us to catch it.
What was your
Sorry?
I'm sorry. This is like a Freudian slip kind of thing. This is a tell.
What was your main takeaway from it?
There were some things we learned. We learned that Trump asked about the Moscow building project all the way through the campaign. We learned about the $35,000 check. There, we learned a few things, but to me, it was more a moral occasion more than anything else.
Moral occasion.
A moral occasion. What it illustrates is a president, and frankly, Michael Cohen, who long ago decided that celebrity and wealth is more important than being a good person, and they've dragged us all down there with us.
Now, what was his flub exactly?
It was right at the end. He says that they think that fame and fortune is more important than morals, and so these two guys dragged everybody down with us.
And frankly, Michael Cohen, who long ago decided that celebrity and wealth is more important than being a good person, and they've dragged us all down there with us.
Good catch. What a moron. That's great.
I love that one.
He does this all the time, though. He has all these weird flubs about that. Brooks
he's pretty conflicted, apparently.
Jeez.
And now we go to part 2, which is the Shields Cohen 2. I can't remember what's on this one, but it's something, maybe the same clip, but I don't think so.
And they've dragged us all down there with us. And the people they've dragged most effectively are the House Republicans, a lot of them on that committee, who decided that they were completely incurious about whether Donald Trump was a good guy or a bad guy or a really awful guy, that their own leader, they didn't seem to care about that, but they were going to rip the skin off Michael Cohen. And so they attacked him, and what struck me is how moral corrosion happens, that you decide you're going to defend or ignore Trump, and then to do that, you have to morally distance yourself from him.
He goes on and on with this theory. Now, again, I want to point out to people who listen to this PBS NewsHour, which has really gone downhill over the years, is that he's supposed to be on the side of – this is an argument with two guys. It's like the point-counterpoint goes way back to the 60-minute era from the 70s, I believe, when you have two people arguing two perspectives. But no, it's the same perspective with two guys arguing the same perspective. Both guys hate Trump. This is not valuable to anybody. You only need one guy to hate Trump, not both. Now, the guy who should be hating Trump and does a lie here. This is the clip Mark Shields lies. Listen.
Rather than talking about president.
They took the old attack route, Judy, which is if you can't argue the substance, you go after the source. If you can't deal with the message, you shoot the messenger. And that's what their whole strategy was. The very fact that not a single member of the Republican committee defended Donald Trump or what he was charged or alleged to have done, to me was revealing. They just decided to go after Michael Cohen. Now,
not a single member of the Republican group defended Trump ever. Now, this is a lie. Now, I think it was Meadows or whoever it was that brought the black woman in there, and I have it here. And then there's other examples. I just pulled the one that was the most obvious, which is defending Trump. Play this clip, defending Trump, and then think about what Shields just said and tell me this is not defending Trump.
Well, I'm glad you acknowledge Ms. Patton. Actually, today in her personal capacity, to actually shed some light. How long have you known Ms. Patton?
I'm responsible for Lynn Patton joining the Trump Organization and the job that she currently holds.
Well, I'm glad you acknowledge that because you made some very demeaning comments about the president that Ms. Patton doesn't agree with. In fact, it has to do with your claim of racism. She says that as a daughter of a man born in Birmingham, Alabama, that there is no way that she would work for an individual who was racist. How do you reconcile the two of those, Mr.
As neither should I, as the son of a Holocaust survivor.
No. But, Mr. Cohen, I guess what I'm saying is I've talked to the president over 300 times. I've not heard one time a racist comment out of his mouth in private. So how do you reconcile it? Do you have proof of those conversations?
I would ask you to.
Do you have tape recordings of those conversations?
No, sir.
No.
Okay, now, how is that not defending Trump?
Well, it is, of course. It's
So what is Shields talking about? Either Shields
Let's listen
lying.
again. Let's listen again to Shields.
Rather than talking about president.
They took the old attack route, Judy, which is if you can't argue the substance, you go after the source. If you can't deal with the message, you shoot the messenger. And that's what their whole strategy was. The very fact that not a single member of the Republican committee defended Donald Trump or what he was charged or alleged to have done, to me was revealing. They just decided to go after Michael Cohen. Now,
you're right. He's lying. Maybe he didn't see.
He's either, well, there's two things. One, I think he's lying because he knows nobody's going to check on this because nobody's going to watch this stupid hearing. It was ridiculous.
It's the same as saying,
or he never saw the hearing, which is possible.
That's also possible. It's the same as saying Trump is humorless.
Yeah. So we're dealing with the PBS NewsHour has two guys that are just anti-Trump, which is unbalanced reporting. And then you got this guy just blatantly lying, and I think I could probably catch him doing this constantly.
And it's important to understand that this program in particular, PBS NewsHour, is what Washington, D.C. watches. That's what Uncle Don watches. You know, it's like that. This is what they watch.
Yeah.
This is not questioned as being truthful all the time because, hey, it's the PBS NewsHour.
Yeah, well, I was very irked by this. And I don't care that he's, what Trump's up to or what he's doing, that like these guys. But I just find it annoying that you have a show where you bring these two guys out and they both just both anti-Trumpers.
Yeah.
Both liberals. I mean, I think Brooks has mentioned he's a Democrat. And then you can't get enough material from what's already available from maybe that 2-hour speech, for example. You can't get enough material, so you actually lie about what material you have. It's unconscionable.
And make millions of dollars in the process.
Myself with a guy like this.
I can tell. And he's making bank.
Well, he's doing better than we are.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, okay. The end of that.
Several producers put together very nice packages for me of the Scandinavian fracas.
Oh, yes.
SNC Lavalin, which is just it's a great story. There's some great sound clips. Everyone did 3 different versions. And through that, I chose 2 clips to play.
Can I preface it with something?
Yeah.
Not a clip, but I would recommend people look at the wiki page for this company.
Yes.
And when you get down to when the scandals begin, it is scandal-ridden.
It's great. It really is fantastic. So this is Michelle Rempel. She's a conservative, and she's in the Scandinavian Governmente there. And she is the one standing up and explaining the history of this. And she does it quite succinctly in just under 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
So SNC-Lavalin is a Montreal-based company, and its description is it provides engineering, procurement, and construction services. It has a lot of employees in the Montreal area and has won a lot of major taxpayer-funded, like big, multi-million-dollar contracts from the federal government. So there's a lot of votes at stake, and there's a lot of profit at stake here. So what's happened was in 2015, the RCMP laid charges against this company, and the charges were they alleged that the company offered bribes worth $47.7 million to Libyan officials, and Muammar Gaddafi's son was named in the court documents, I believe. The company is also alleged to have defrauded Libyan public agencies of approximately $129 million. And recently we found out that the RCMP has laid out a bribery scheme here in Canada with the company involving the $127 million Jacques Cartier bridge contract.
Any collusion?
Of which a federal official pleaded guilty to last year in accepting more than $2.3 million worth of payments from this company. Fast forward to this year. The company, this very wealthy, well-funded company, went on the lobbying spree to end all lobbying spree. Like, imagine American-style lobbyists.
Hey, easy does it, Scandinavia.
Like full court press on the government.
Foam finger number 1 down here.
On everybody. Meeting after meeting with the Prime Minister's office. Won't take no for an answer because they wanted to get out of this. That's the motivation here. And why? Because if they're convicted of this, this company can't bid on what? Federal contracts. That's the big penalty for this, right? There's a lot at stake. So in the budget bill, Mr. Speaker, this company, after lobbying, the Liberals snuck in something called a deferred prosecution agreement in this bajillion-page document.
Oh, that's too bad.
That had everything under the sun. They snuck in a major legal change. And a deferred prosecution agreement, simply put, would allow the government, or would allow SNC-Lavalin not to have, if they went this route, to potentially not have to go to jail or be convicted. They could just pay a fine, and then they would also be eligible to what? Bid on federal contracts.
You know, that's the way we do it here. I don't see why Canada's behind the ball on this. It's exactly what we do.
We do it.
What?
The banks do.
We bribe everybody, and then when they get caught, then we don't send anyone to jail. We just fine them $1 billion.
Yeah,
that's the model.
Goes into the taxpayer. It says it lightens the load on the taxpayer.
Yeah, I mean, what is wrong with them? Don't they understand that this is how it rolls? And then this would have to be the best clip of what she said, and the Prime Minister's response as she delves into a little bit of the bottom of the Wikipedia page about SNC-Lavalin and their scandalous tactics.
The Prime Minister conspired to stop the criminal trial of a company charged with bribery, and this is what the bribery looked like.
Order. I invite members to be judicious in the use of words. There are certain accusations we cannot make here except in certain ways. So I'd ask the member to be careful in the use of her words. Order.
I guess she can't say the Prime Minister did this. You have to be really specific about his role in it or something. There's some rules, but
Canada's got a lot of anti-free speech little gotchas that we do too. The Brits have a lot of them.
Right.
All these English-speaking countries have these.
The Commonwealth has rules.
These weird ways of you can't say that, but you can say this.
Members ought to be able to be familiar with the rules, and I'm prepared to talk to them privately if they wish. The honourable member for Calgary, Nose Hill.
This is what SNC's intervention looked like. $30,000 worth of Canadian prostitutes given to Muammar Gaddafi's son. This is the so-called victimless crime.
Now they're working it like we do it. You send some hookers and blow in. Yeah, $30,000 worth.
$30,000 worth of whores?
Hookers, ladies of the night, sex workers, professional ladies, all for Gaddafi's son, also known as...
How many people that involved? How many girls were involved?
That's a very good question.
Did they have any specifics? Was it like $30,000? Was it 30 women? They each got $1,000 each? Or was it
possibly.
10? You got $3,000 a pop?
It could have been.
Was it 2? They split $15,000? I think this is interesting.
If it was girlfriend experience, it would maybe 5. I don't know. So you don't want to know what the troll room is saying about us right now.
Prostitutes given to
troll room. The troll room can. Those guys. Get out of the basement, kids.
Worth of Canadian prostitutes given to Muammar Gaddafi's son. This is the
Canadian prostitutes.
Oh yeah, not some shitty hookers. No, Canadian prostitutes, top of the bill, baby. This is the best of the best. This is this top class prime beef.
Dollars worth of Canadian prostitutes given to Muammar Gaddafi's son. This is the so-called victimless crime.
Now wait until you hear Trudeau respond to this.
That our woke feminist prime minister is moving mountains to cover up.
Right, this has to be heard again. This is what our woke feminist prime minister. It's a great little title.
This is the so-called victimless crime that our woke feminist prime minister is moving mountains to cover up. When did the prime minister learn that SNC-Lavalin paid for prostitutes for Muammar Gaddafi's son?
Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, every step of the way, we will stand up for Canadian workers. We will stand up for good jobs right across this country.
So what's funny about it, I got to play the whole bit. What's funny about it, he says, well, he's talking, it goes immediately. So again, he's accused of being complicit in bribing Muammar Gaddafi's son with prime Canadian hookers. And the first thing he says, we stand up for our workers' rights. Yeah, clearly. Does he mean for people who work for SNC-Lavalin or for the rights of the women to work?
Step of the way, we will stand up for Canadian workers. We will stand up for good jobs right across this country. And we will do so in a way that is consistent with our values, with our expectations, and with the rule of law. That is the matter that we will stay focused on in this. We will defend Canadian jobs, and we will ensure that we are being consistent both with our values and with the rules and laws in place.
Wow.
This is better than Trump.
Who's you taking advice from L. Franken?
This is fantastic. I agree, though. We need some clarification on the Canadian hookers. And I agree that it's confusing. I mean, when you say 30,000, it sounds like this Gaddafi kid is just buried under flesh. But who knows? I mean, maybe was the cost of the jet built into the $30,000? I agree. I mean,
it could have been 2 women for all you know.
Could have been, yeah. Dynamite stuff. Hey, great going, Canada. Thank you. This is very entertaining. Enjoy it very much.
Yes, I take a lozenge. You have to excuse me.
That's okay. No problem. While you take
lozenge.
You take the lozenge.
My lozenge. Today's lozenge is brought to me by Jakeman's out of Boston, England, since 1907.
Oh, really? Now, who would have thought?
Been made in Boston, England, for over 100 years.
I'm going to take us in a little different direction for a moment. I think we were one of the first to start talking about the Facebook/Google/YouTube moderators that have been, to an extent, Twitter, but mainly Facebook and Google. And we see them here in downtown Austin, right across the street. These are the people that sit and watch for hours every single day to all the horrific shit that is uploaded to these social networks and have to make decisions about leaving them on. Is it within context? This is what AI, machine learning, AIML is supposed to do and what we've been promised. But meanwhile, there's 15,000 of these contractors working just for Facebook. And it apparently is a very harrowing job, very poorly paid, $15 an hour, which is great in Arizona. It's higher than minimum wage, but when you hear what these people have to go through, it's quite there's something askew with the Facebook business model and how they reward important employees. And since we can barely get any good information from M5M, I went to the podcasts, and the most recent article written about these Facebook moderators was for The Verge. And so the Verge cast brought on the Casey Newton, who is the author of this article, and I wanted to share some pieces of it because there's some new information we haven't learned, some terms that I think will be useful, and just some conclusions. Let's talk first about the job itself and the tools they use.
What they do is they use a piece of software called Single Review Tool, or SRT, and it offers up an endless queue of posts that someone somewhere in the world has reported for violating Facebook's content policy. So some of this stuff is benign. Some of this is just people trolling their friends by reporting their posts. But of course, a lot of it is really disturbing. It's violent content. It's graphic sexual content. It's child exploitation. It's stuff that, if you look at it long enough, can have really lasting and negative effects on your mental health.
And as you listen to this guy, this reporter, he is such a millennial. You'll hear him uptalk into things he wants you to agree with, which just doesn't matter that much. It's just interesting because you'll hear it.
And so, you sort of ask, what is the job? The job is to work an 8-hour shift where you're going to be asked to look at maybe 300, maybe 400, if you're really moving quickly, posts per day, and then spending less than 30 seconds on each item, decide whether it adheres to Facebook's very lengthy community guidelines. And as the story points out, those guidelines are actually changing almost every day. And if you say this is violating, then you have to say why it's violating. And you sort of also have to say, in what order it's violating. So, this very weird quirk of the system that I didn't describe in the story is if something depicts violence, but there's also nudity in the image, which actually happens a lot, and you mark the post as violating for being violent, that will count against your accuracy score, because what you should have marked it for was having nudity, which is the highest order violation in Facebook's rules.
That was interesting to me. Nudity is a higher violation in the Facebook rule pecking order than violence.
Well, that's kind of the way it is in the movie business.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Didn't even think about it. Let's talk about what they make for doing this. And the question never really gets answered as to, can't this be done through artificial intelligence? But this is the conversation about it.
You created this incredibly high pressure job where people who are making $15 an hour and who've been entrusted with these very important questions of speech and security, they're now being held to this standard that many of them describe to me as impossible. So that nature of the work where you must be accurate, and yet accuracy is also just kind of what folks on the ground agree with, I think is really problematic.
By the way, that $15 an hour is a full-time job. It adds up to what, $28,800?
Yeah, $28,800 a year. And, if you stay on for a year, you can get a 47 cents an hour increase. Here's what I think is going on. When you look at what Facebook has said about content moderation over the past couple of years, they're always very quick to point out the amount of moderation that they're able to do via machine learning, AI, and how that number is growing over time. So in the context of ISIS, for example, they're typically able to identify ISIS content now really quickly and maybe prevent it from ever even being uploaded. And that's a good thing. I think the problem, though, is that when you start talking about it in those terms, you have already decided that the job that you're doing is essentially a machine job, and that these 15,000 workers that you've hired around the world to do this are effectively a stopgap measure. And they're going to be given this task for only as long as until the machine can do it. And of course, as a result, you're not going to see the people who are doing this job fully as people, right? You're going to see them as cogs in a machine. And so a lot of what I wanted to kind of explore in this story was just the humanity of these people and like what is their lived experience of doing a job, and try to separate that just from this system that has been built up around them.
Now, you picked up on the same thing I did. It becomes very irritating when he's trying to tell you something. All of a sudden, he's telling you like this. Because it's true.
He does it in like a streak, and then he stops doing it.
Yeah, let's see if he does it in this one.
I find that to be peculiar.
So if you're watching crazy videos all day, let's say you're watching 9/11 truther videos and conspiracy theory videos, which are, I believe now, I was reading this morning, YouTube is banning all conspiracy theory videos from the algorithm, so they will not be surfaced anywhere. Only if you search. So what happens?
Some of the best stuff.
The one dimension I think is absolutely worth exploring and studying is the notion that being exposed to conspiracy theories and misinformation will make you believe it, even if your job is to delete it.
Yeah.
And you spoke to some folks who...
By the way, this is Nilay Patel, a Class A douchebag.
They believe that 9/11 was an inside job, which is false.
Nah, that's what you say.
And who believe the world is flat, which is false.
Okay.
And this seems to just come up a little bit more often than anyone would reasonably hope.
Absolutely. I mean, even for folks that I spoke with who had not felt affected in that way, they did tell me that they felt in danger of that, right? I talked to one person who said that after they watched their 15th Alex Jones video, they thought, oh, he's starting to make some sense. And then they caught themselves and they're like, oh my God, I need to stop doing this. After my story came out today, somebody tweeted at me that
this is the thing that gets me. Is these guys, they can't even bring themselves to say, well, maybe if you do watch something 15 times, it starts to make sense. No, it's immediately you're mentally challenged.
There's been apparently some research on this subject, and that academic researchers who study misinformation have experienced similar effects. It is a phenomenon that is somewhat known, apparently, but when I asked Facebook and Cognizant about it, it was news to them. Like, they said that they had not been previously aware of this phenomenon. One of the reasons I think it's important to think through the implications of that is that this might be a job that you have for 6 or 8 months before you get fired. I heard a story that almost an entire training class, which, involved dozens of people, almost an entire class was walked out the door on their final day of training because they weren't accurate enough. Other people I talked to started having panic attacks during training, right? So think about what kind of lasting effect on your psyche might come from doing this job for a year, and then how long this job will have changed you forever. I think that the lasting impacts can be quite severe. And again, for $15 an hour, it just doesn't seem like a good bargain.
Okay. So the conclusion, and this is what got me just really a head shaker to me. The conclusion of the Verge bags is, so you already hear them talking about how it's very difficult and, it works on your psyche, and you probably can't do more than 6 or 9 months because then you become an idiot and start believing in conspiracy theories, even though scientists have not really heard of this. But okay, so I guess they know it's true when it happens, and it's only $15 an hour. And, these people who are here only as placeholders until the artificial intelligence and the machine learning comes into play. These people, John, they are heroes.
Just before we came on, our producer Zach and I were talking about other kinds of jobs where we inflict this level of pain on people and trauma on people.
Yeah.
The United States government routinely sends young people into war, but then they come back and we valorize them. Right. We have police and firefighters. We valorize them as first responders. There does not appear to be that additional level of valor and value ascribed to the people using the single review tool at a contractor in Phoenix.
And there absolutely should be. And actually, for me, maybe the most exciting part of writing this story was the hope that I could shed light on the work that they do. Because again, as somebody who uses Facebook and Instagram, I benefit from their work every day, even though I will never know their names. Not only do these people not get the credit that they deserve for the work that they do, but many of the ones that I spoke to actually felt nervous about sharing their work days with even their spouses, their partners, their loved ones. They felt like they should never refer to the work they did at Facebook, or that might be yet another thing that could get them fired. And so that increased their feelings of loneliness and alienation. And, I think could potentially put some vulnerable people at risk. So that secrecy element is a real double-edged sword.
Yeah, man. They're working for humanity, baby. They're like cops and teachers and firefighters, and we're benefiting from them making sure nothing harmful reaches my retina.
There's a couple of things, of course, they don't deal with. For example, this thing that the guy talks about where at the end, if you even talk about Facebook, you might get fired. There's things called wrongful termination suits that are pretty effective, especially against big, giant companies with big, deep pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Does that ever discuss? No. The other thing is these guys, they burn out after so many months. Does anybody go on disability? It should be a very easy way to do this. You should be able to go to a doctor or a shrink or something and get on SDI or whatever it is, the disability insurance program, and be paid for not working. You should be able to do that. Is that discussed in this piece? I doubt it. Now, the other thing that strikes me is that, do we know that this is not some CIA experiment?
Oh man, I love you for that idea. It's like
got experiment written all over it.
It's hyper MK Ultra. Yeah, it does have that written all over it, doesn't it? Damn, good one. I'll give you a bell.
I got a bell.
Good one. I like that. Well, if not, hello, you guys, here's an idea for you. It's something you might want to try out.
Get in on this.
Yeah, and Facebook research
this sort of thing
should be all over it. Yes. Interesting. A lot of people at the meetup yesterday were like, hey, man, show me your OTG phone.
Oh, brother.
I'd be whipping it out. Here you go.
Yeah, you'd be whipping it out.
I'd be whipping it out. That's right. Oh, speaking of here's something odd I wanted to ask you about, if you know how this works. So a long, long time ago, now I still have my iPhone. It just sits on the floor in the living room, only to run WhatsApp if I need to talk to somebody on that, but I barely use it for that as well. So my credit card number got jacked, and so I've gone through the fun process of changing credit card numbers on everything that is connected to my card, which, it includes infrastructure for the show, mainly, stuff like that. You'd be surprised how many things are connected to your credit card on some kind of subscription basis. But here's the thing that was odd. So this is a Chase credit card. And this Chase credit card, years ago, I put it into my iPhone, my Apple Wallet, so you can use it for Apple Pay, which I also haven't used. I mean, how long have I been doing OTG? Like at least a year longer. So I have not used Apple Pay, but the credit card was still in there.
No.
Well, it's okay. It's this is the thing. You got to use your thumbprint, and then you can, contactless. You can pay for something at at most registers. So as I'm going through, what to change here and there, I get an email from Apple, which I'm always suspicious of because, a lot of those Apple emails are phishing expeditions, PH. And it says, we've updated your card. Here's the new number. Here's the last 4 digits of the number. It's updated in your Apple Wallet. And I went to check. And indeed, the new credit card had replaced the old credit card without my intervention. So Chase somehow has a direct connection with Apple, direct enough.
This is not acceptable.
I found it really creepy and extremely unacceptable. So Chase said, Curry has a new card. Go ahead, just swap it right out. I don't think that's cool. I think it may even be borderline illegal.
It might be illegal. You might look into that.
Although I'm sure I signed some EULA somewhere.
Yeah, you probably did sign some piece of crap that made it legal for you.
But maybe they have. This is some interbanking connection that we don't know. People in the troll room are confirming this happened to them as well. So there is some connectivity between Silicon Valley and your bank that is unknown to the public at large. I mean, yes, I know that I connected those two initially, but I don't see how, Chase must just put some flag out saying this one's changed. Go ahead. What, they have all my info, my my 3-digit ID and whatever that is. They have all this
pins and everything in between.
Probably.
Digital copy of your thumbprint that can be used for anything in the future if some phony wants to take over your account and ruin you.
Now, while I realize that lots of people will see this as, wow, that's handy. Thanks, Chase and Apple.
Yeah, no, that's the problem.
Yes, exactly. No one questions it. Well, maybe one of our producers knows exactly how that works. And meanwhile,
sure it's something you signed.
Meanwhile, we keep getting reports about this surge in $100 bills in circulation. Have you followed any of this?
No, I haven't even heard of this.
So there's all kinds of. Bloomberg did a story on it. The amount of $100 bills in circulation is surging, and it's leaving some economists scratching their heads. The number of outstanding U.S. $100 bills has doubled since the financial crisis, with more than 12 billion of them across the world, according to the latest data from the Federal Reserve. C-notes have passed $1 bills in circulation, according to Deutsche Bank. Generally, economists believe the surge is related to people around the world wanting to hoard cash, a similar force that's driven the interest in cryptocurrencies. High-denomination, high-value currency notes have historically been a preferred form of payment for criminals, given the anonymity, lack of transaction record, and relative ease with which they can be bought.
Yeah, use cash, you're a criminal.
That's pretty much what it's saying. I mean, the whole thing comes to, it's got to be criminals. It's got to be criminals. I have to say, I noticed in my, I don't see $100 bills very often, but a lot of the donations that people gave in the past 2 meetups were $100 bills, which
I would
to
say
me was notable.
We didn't have as much, we had cash, but we didn't have anywhere near as much cash at either Sacramento or Seattle or even Oakland. And then the Oakland one, we also had Berkeley, but
it's because it's all paid in
Oakland one
taxes.
had cash. But as I think JC was there, and he pointed out that it seems as though there was a nearby ATM. And so people that didn't bring any donations, they felt guilty.
Right, but the ATM doesn't spit out hundies.
Right, there's always 20s.
Yeah.
But you had a lot of cash down in Texas, which makes me think that there's a bunch of criminals down there.
Oh, hell yeah. No, not criminals. We prefer to be called outlaws.
Outlaws, that's what it is.
And besides, you can't have much cash in California because the tax man takes it all.
No.
You guys are poor.
There's a couple elements like that.
You're poor. California. I found it interesting.
California.
Yeah, I just found it very interesting. It's like, what is that?
Yeah, that is very screwy.
And I'm sorry, do you want to say something?
No, I got some clips we can catch. I got some catch.
Well, Eric Schill told me something that I wanted to talk to you about.
Sure.
And I did look it up. And so he has a 3-prong theory. He says, one, there are so many people ODing in Washington State that at even now or at a certain point, they had to have refrigeration trucks called into service because the morgues were filled. They couldn't fit any more dead bodies in them. Had you heard anything about this?
No, but it actually is believable.
So, yes, it turns out to be true. I did find articles about this, and Eric made a very interesting connection. He says that a law just passed, and it's not just in Washington State. Turns out 17 other states have this, for something known as recomposition. And recomposition is essentially the composting of human beings, human composting. It involves placing bodies in a vessel and hastening their decomposition into a nutrient-dense soil that can then be returned to the families. So Eric says it's so bad that, of course, for families, I'm sure, you can cremate, you can bury, or you could or you could compost. I guess I'll just call it compost. He says it's so bad that with the drug overdoses, they don't even take the time. We don't even have to identify these people. Just compost them, and it's being used as compost.
Well, I'll have to talk to him. I don't know anything about this, but again, it's
Soylent Green,
science
man.
fiction. Anything's believable, and that's kind of in that realm. It's Soylent Green. It's people.
Yeah, it is people. It's fantastic. Tina,
composting the public.
Tina can't stop talking about it. She was talking to everybody yesterday about it. And they're like, "What? They're composting people in Washington State?" Yeah. 17 other states on the way, baby. This is fantastic. Hey, if I go before you, I want to be composted and I want to be in your garden. And I want you to grow something on me.
We'll grow a lemon tree on you.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to expedite Hmong. So we got to catch up on that. That took a long time to get to.
The Canadian government today formally gave the green light to start extradition hearings for Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou. Meng faces fraud charges in the U.S. She was arrested in Vancouver in December. The Chinese telecom company is accused of stealing trade secrets and violating U.S. sanctions on Iran. Meng has maintained her innocence.
Yeah. This, I think, is just a bargaining chip for some.
Oh, it's got to be. But the question is what?
Trump's
Well,
up to.
five Gs.
I have two clips I want to do a side by side.
Okay.
Now, one's 37 seconds, the other one's 44. It's a little longer. This guy, you were talking about Washington State and their composting. Well, the governor there, the guy would be somewhat responsible for this, is this guy Inslee. He's like a douchebag, and he's going to run for president.
This is the climate change guy. He's all behind.
Yeah, his whole thing.
Yes, he's all for composting.
Yeah, he'd be all for composting. So he wants to compost the public. So he'd be the composting president if he ever got in. But he's a douchebag and he's kind of a squirrely guy. But he's going to run for president, and so it's not going to get anywhere. But he's going to run for president because he thinks he can do it. And he's going to be on a sole the only thing is in his platform is stop global warming. So the two operations, I got two clips. I got him, the announcement, the long announcement, which is the PBS announcement. And then I want to contrast it to the Democracy Now! Announcement because of a punchline at the end that I think Democracy Now! Thinks is a good thing, but it just makes me laugh. But let's play PBS.
Washington State Governor Jay Inslee announced today he's running for president, joining a growing Democratic field. The former congressman led the Democratic Governors Association in 2018 when the party flipped 7 gubernatorial seats in its direction. Inslee told supporters in Seattle that combating climate change will be the centerpiece of his campaign.
Because I believe our ability to rise to any challenge. This we know. We are the first generation to feel the sting of climate change, and we are the last generation that can do something about it.
Inslee is the 13th Democrat to launch a presidential bid.
Okay.
So he's just a climate change guy. By the way, I can't wait till June when we get to see the first debates. This is going to be the greatest show on earth.
Oh, yeah. This is
but
so
now
nice.
the way Democracy Now! Handles it, because Democracy Now! Is so all in on climate change to such an extreme that they actually added a kicker at the end that they thought would be a plus, I think. And I heard it as, oh, my God, conflict of interest. This is hilarious.
Washington State's Democratic Governor Jay Inslee announced today he's running for president in 2020. In a video posted to YouTube, Inslee said he would make the issue of battling climate change his top priority.
We're the first generation to feel the sting of climate change, and we're the last that can do something about it. We went to the moon and created technologies that have changed the world. Our country's next mission must be to rise up to the most urgent challenge of our time, defeating climate change.
Governor Inslee will formally announce his candidacy today at a solar panel company in Seattle.
I saw that at the solar. Dude, hello. Obama era called. It wants its campaign back. Are you kidding me? That's just insane.
I couldn't stop laughing when I heard that.
That's so good. Tonight on 60 Minutes, is more child abuse. Tune into CBS, the child abusing network, as they will speak with the children who have, by themselves, almost single-handedly, because they're just that great, have filed a lawsuit against the federal government.
You're 11 years old and you're suing the United States government. That's not what most 11-year-olds do, right?
Yeah.
Levi Draheim is one of 21 kids asking federal courts to block the U.S. government from continuing the use of fossil fuels. They say it's causing climate change, and they've amassed 50 years of evidence that's already forced the government to make some remarkable admissions.
So you've got them with their own words.
It's really the clearest, most compelling evidence I've ever had in any case I've litigated in over 20 years.
And that's their lawyer, who looks like she's probably in her 50s, but sounds like she's 12. So I can't wait for that. More child abuse. I'm working on a full report about some of these children and the parents they belong to.
I don't know if you want to use these, but I got a couple of clips from Amy Goodman again, and they brought in that 16-year-old.
Greta Thunberg?
No, not the. No, we're talking about the black girl who said, "We voted you."
Yeah, yes, I want to hear that. Sure.
Yeah,
what do you got?
We voted you. So she's on now. She's apparently been trained by some. I've seen this going on in the West Coast. You see these training sessions, and she's been trained. So she says, she presents her case. I think okay, but this is arrogant climate girl. R.E. Feinstein, Amy pushes.
Yesterday, I spoke with 3 of the climate activists, age 16, 12, and 10, who confronted Senator Feinstein. I began by speaking with Aisha Clark, a 16-year-old junior at Met West High School in Oakland. She's an activist with Youth versus Apocalypse. I asked her why she went to Senator Feinstein's office.
Really there to ask her to vote yes on the Green New Deal. And while we were there, she said things like, it's not going to pass in the Senate. It's too pricey. And we responded by saying that really, Senator Feinstein, it's too pricey to not enact the Green New Deal. And the longer that we wait, the more costly and devastating the consequences of this climate crisis will be. And that, frankly, we understand that the Green New Deal may not pass in Senate right now because we know that the Republicans hold the majority, but that it's important that our politicians take a stand and say that they are in solidarity with us and that they understand the weight of this climate crisis, and that so that we can start to build the momentum for when we do hold the majority in Senate and it'll pass right away and we can really take needed action.
And Senator Feinstein has been in the Senate for over a quarter of a century. Your answer to her when she responded to all of you in her office saying she has a lot more experience than you do, that she knows what she's doing when she introduces a resolution or a bill, she knows how to get what gets passed and what doesn't?
While I have a lot of respect for her and of all of the work that she's done, I think there's always change to be made. There's always room for improvement. And just because she has more life experience than me doesn't mean anything, because I am the one who is experiencing most directly the effects of this climate crisis. I'm the one who has to miss school because of smoke days. I'm the one who has to worry about flash floods and mudslides and fires. I'm the one who is at the forefront of those experiences. So I should be the one who is telling her what needs to be done to be changed, for that to be changed.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
Wow, how abusive.
This is like, this girl is completely done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
I can't even laugh about it. It's so
these
sad.
Democrats have created this monster, you know.
They have.
And they deserve what's going to happen to them.
Yeah.
But let's listen to the end of her. Another minute of the arrogant climate girl. This is the I guess I'm supposed to say brother. There's an old brother moment in here.
Isha, what got you so interested in this issue, in the issue of climate change?
Well, it's for 2 reasons. One, because we're really seeing the impacts of the climate crisis right now. We have, it's raining a lot in California right now, and usually that would be a really good thing because of the drought that was made extremely more severe by climate change.
And she's a climatologist. I want to make sure, because, we can only speak about climate if you're an actual scientist. Is she a scientist? Is she a licensed professional in this field?
She's 16-year-old. She's a high school kid.
But now we're scared about the rain because there can be floods and there can be mudslides because of the fires that just happened. That is also because of the climate crisis.
No, since the 1800s, it's been written about the hell that is California with its fire and rain and mudslides. No. Oh, by the way, Dianne Feinstein does remember. That's what life experience does for you.
We've had to miss school because of smoke days. That didn't happen 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Is that true?
So
Smoke days that didn't happen? There were smog days in Los Angeles.
Yeah, smog days were worse.
Oh, my goodness.
Made kids stay home all the time.
True.
Impacting us right now. And the second reason is because I really think that
I grew up in Amsterdam with smoke days, but it was different.
Climate change is an intersectional issue, and that especially when dealing with the Green New Deal, it encompasses...
Climate change is an intersectional issue. You know, comprende.
Actually, when you, from that point in her talk, this is where it actually gets to me. It gets weird.
So intersectionality means everybody who's a minority. It's everybody but old white guys. It's intersectionality.
Yeah, everybody but you and me.
That's right. That's right. You nailed it.
And that especially when dealing with the Green New Deal, it encompasses so many issues: economic justice, racial justice, women's rights, so many things. And through fighting for climate justice, I can also fight for all of the other justices that I'm super passionate about.
Oh, that is the Green New Deal. That is exactly it. It says right there in the Green New Deal, it's intersectional. And when we fight climate change, we help all minorities. We help everybody, but we kind of kill old whitey guy. Yeah, everything else is helped. Everybody is helped. It's
nuts.
It is. But this is child abuse. And you correctly say this arrogant kid, but she's been abused into this, to believing it, and she's propagating this message
of her life.
You know, one true scientist who listened to our show, producer Rob, last name goes anonymous. He says that, let me tell you the reason he said about the 2030 deadline. This date is very important. He says near or around 2030 is when all the major Western models, which are it's a CRUT 4.6, CMIP5, and RCP. The models in 2030 start diverging in such a manner that their accuracy of prediction will not be able to be argued. Temperature change will either be on trend for less than 1 degree Celsius or plus 2 degrees Celsius. So if we get to he says, Mio, in the language of a climate scientist, this means if we get to the year 2030 and the rate of temperature change is not as dramatic as predicted, then it's just another climate change trend that they have on record from before. The Earth will not be on fire, and this will be very bad for funding.
This is why the Chinese know this.
Yep.
That's why when they did their climate deal with the Paris Accords, they said that all implementation takes place after 2030.
Of course.
Remember that?
Yes,
and everybody said, oh, Obama's a genius. You got the Chinese to sign up. After 2030, and nobody, I don't get how nobody got all bent out of shape by that. Okay.
Because no one wants to be called I'll tell you why. Here is, we got to take our final break, but here is Trump's climate czar. He is an interesting fellow. His name is William Happer. And Happer is not just any old white dude. He is the dean of faculty at Princeton. I'd say the dean of faculty at Princeton has some standing. You know, you're up there in academia.
Yeah, he's definitely some sort of academic.
Well, this mofo is on edge, man. He's getting beat up, and he's starting to crack. This was CNBC, of all the innocuous, lame-ass places that you'd start to freak out over an interview. This is what went down.
Professor, I have some issues with all of this, obviously, because you don't believe in climate change at all. You made a comment.
Just a minute. I believe in climate change.
Sir,
shut up.
Sir, I'm open.
This is the dean of faculty saying, oh, I didn't say that. Shut up. Right off the bat. He's cracking. This is not good for this man.
Professor, I have some issues with all of this, obviously, because you don't believe in climate change at all. You made a comment.
Just a minute. I believe in climate change.
Sir,
shut up.
Sir, I'm open. I'm open to all ideas. You made a comment back in 2009 comparing climate change to the Holocaust. And my question is, are you suggesting when you made that comment that climatologists and climate scientists are the equivalent of Hitler and Nazis? I mean, that's what it seems like you were trying to say.
Yeah, you know, I get called a denier, and anyone who objects to all of the hype gets called a denier. That's supposed to make me a Holocaust denier. You know, I'm getting tired of that. And the comment I made was the demonization of carbon dioxide is just like the demonization of the poor Jews under Hitler. Carbon dioxide is actually a benefit to the world, and so were the Jews.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that'll work, bro. That's the way to explain your way out of it.
Yeah, talk to your publicist after these meetings.
We would like now to demonstrate how the English language ought to be used by two craftsmen, our guest commentators.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
Jonathan Jobin starts us off with our segment here, $123.45. NA keeps me sane, he says. I don't know if he calls it a douchebag or a de-douching. No. Tracy Bossano in Madison, Alabama. First-time donor. My husband and I love the show. Thanks for the sanity. Requested de-douching for both of us.
You've been de-douched.
So that means a second one?
In Huntsville.
So a second
we
one?
We will do a house selling karma at the end for you.
Hey,
Baron Latikin in Houston, Texas, $100. John Robinet, $100. And, anonymous lesbian's back.
Hey!
She came in with $100, and she sent a note, which I will read.
Yes. Oh,
no,
we
she
missed
has
her.
just thank you for my mental health.
That's
and
it?
A big heart.
Oh, well, she loves you. She loves you.
Anonymous lesbian. And then on her note where she puts it over the little sticker over her check, she puts please, no name. And then she puts, and I'm going to use her term, I think must be legal then, anonymous lesbo.
So that's her new name. She has a new name now.
No, she still calls herself anonymous lesbian, but she does use lesbo.
How about just shorten it down to Albo?
and Bo. Ryan Brady in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 8330. Anyway, we're glad to see that she's
yes,
not
very happy to hear she's not overboard.
Please include the mail donation upon request. Okay, we got this. Ryan Couture in Bellingham, Washington, 8008. It's a happy birthday to a smoking hot wife, girlfriend.
Jenna D'Amico.
Smoking hot girlfriend. I don't want to jump the gun here.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Thorpe, San Luis Obispo, California, 6667. Sir Jackson, 6666 from Leveland, Texas. Benjamin Norman, $60. He went to the meetup.
Yep.
Robert Bruckner, 5555. Ross Reynolds in Manchaca, Texas. Yeah, everything was all set for the Austin meetup. I donated today so I wouldn't be a douchebag at the sponsored event. And then he says, de-douche me and call out my de-douche him, please.
Okay. You've been de-douched.
And then call out his douchebag friend Josh.
Douchebag. Now, Ross is the keg whisperer. He's the one from Austin Beer Works. He set it all up.
Oh, good for yes. Ross. Good work.
Thank you. Fantastic.
Donald Cool in Windham, New Hampshire, 5510.
He's the Baron of New Hampshire.
He's not a man overboard, he says.
Nope.
He says the meaning of the picture from the Des Moines. When do you see the next picture in the next newsletter? Holy mackerel. If you're not a subscriber, make sure to become one. Not Jake, 5432. Scott Nelson in Melbourne, Pennsylvania, 5001. The following people are $50 donors, name and location, if applicable. Andrew Oxenham in Santa Ana, California. Bradley Ledden. Scott E. Knight in Lost Wages, Nevada. Jeremy Cartwright in Rockford, Illinois. Grant Clockide, you think? What do you think that is? Victorville, California.
Clockide.
Hard to say. Jay Cottacini in Austin, Texas. He should have dropped it off at the meetup. I guess he was there. Aichi Kitagawa in San Francisco, $50. And last but not least, Sir Brian Watson in Raleigh, North Carolina, $50. And that concludes our group of supporters for show 1117. I want to thank each and every one of them for helping the show continue at a more than a snail's pace.
And thank you all again who donated the meetup. It was really good. And you see what you're doing. This is your Value for Value network, and could not be more proud of what everyone is doing. Also, people who came in under $50 for their reasons, sometimes anonymity, but a lot of you are on subscriptions. We love that. Please see what you can do to support the work at Dvorak.org/NA. A couple people need some job karma.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
Here we go, March 3rd, 2019. Kyle Parker turns 33 today. It's the magic number. Happy birthday. Sir John Helmer says happy birthday to his milfy wife, Angie. She'll be celebrating on the 7th. And Andrew Kelly also celebrating on March 7th. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, 2 dames, 4 nights, I think. So it's quite a list. If you can grab your blade, get the big one. The big one for me today. Remember, John never pulls his out in public, so. Up on stage, please, Ryan Brady, Jason McKinney, Gretchen Wittig, Dame Firecracker's husband, Paul Wilson, Billy Villarreal, and Damon. All of you have supported the No Agenda Show in the amount of $1,000 or more. Therefore, I am proud to pronounce-ticate Sir Ryan J. Brady, Knight of the Three Rivers, Sir Jason of the No Pointer Exception, Dame G. Money, Sir Ed Slayer of the Dragon, Sir Paul, the Trusted Advisor, Dame Phil Pusher of South Texas, Pill Pusher of South Texas, and Sir D. For you, we have Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, Dillard Did, and Benadryl, Push Fast, Dr. Pepper, and Beef Jerky at the round table, and Bravery Bandages and Instant Audience Toys, and of course the mutton and meat thrown in. We had a long list there. The number one question asked at the meetup, where's my ring? Believe me, Eric the Shill does a lot of work on this, and he always tries to get everybody their rings as soon as possible. We got sizes, we got shipments, but you need to go to noagendanation.com/rings and give Eric your measurements, and he'll take care of all the rest. And thank you all for supporting the No Agenda Show, the best podcast in the universe.
Any upgrades? We had one.
Oh, you are so right.
Come gather round, douchebag, producer and slave, as we all thank your brothers and sisters who gave, and some of them knights, some of them dames, for the titles are a-changing.
Christopher O. Cowan becomes a baronet today. Congratulations. And as we mentioned earlier, Sir Tyler Fox, the Mooney Man, becomes Viscount Tyler Fox today. Congratulations. Thank you for your courage and for your support of the show and the Value for Value Network.
Well, I got one clip here that I want to play. One people say, why do you even watch that Democracy Now! Show? So they always have the stories that these other guys don't cover that are always funny.
Well, it's mainstream, even though it's pretty
very
much
mainstream, but it's mostly they read it from different wires, and they're not. Everybody else is. They use the New York Times as this is the known fact in broadcasting.
Let me answer this. The reason why is we provide a balanced diet of news and disinformation. And if you only want to look at the New York Times, I agree, you're not doing enough.
The New York Times is known in the broadcasting business. If you're in the radio or TV, if the New York Times isn't covering, then you don't cover it.
Right.
It's a paper of record.
Right.
It's like the dollar being the world's currency. And so they get stuff like this story, which you just laugh at because it's so funny. It's Amy and the Virginia governor's wife.
Virginia's First Lady, Pam Northam, has apologized after she handed out cotton to African-American students touring the governor's mansion, and asked them to imagine being an enslaved cotton picker.
I did see I saw a headline somewhere. I didn't realize that she had asked them to imagine being an enslaved cotton picker.
Yeah.
Wait,
this
a cotton
is the
picking
Virginia governor
moment.
They're trying to oust because he's blackface.
His wife is in on it. Clearly, she's in on it. She's the assassin on the inside.
She's out to get rid of him. So it brings up two ISOs I want you to play.
Okay.
for possible end of show. One is the Amy enslaved cotton picker.
Imagine being an enslaved cotton picker.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one.
It's not bad.
And then the other ones I pulled from Trump's long, 2-hour speech. Don't fall asleep.
Don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep, right? Don't fall asleep.
I think if we just do one, it's great for end of shows. Like,
don't fall asleep.
If we just do that one. You want the full
either one? It's up to you. I find I like them both.
I had an ISO too. Let me see. What did I have? Oh, yeah. It's a leftover from Alex Jones.
I'm kind of retarded.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Which one do you want for the end?
I don't like the Alex Jones one.
No,
I don't like it because I heard it a couple of times. It's taken out of context, and I mean the ISOs are always taken out of context.
Hello,
but I didn't like the whole the carnival around that Alex Jones showing up on that other show that won't have you on.
They will.
Yeah.
I hope so.
We'll see.
Joe Rogan is what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right. Joe Rogan.
All right. What do I have left here?
Well, if you want, we can go to PBS and do the Venezuela update to see what the hell's going on there.
Yeah, I did want to mention one quick thing. I'm a big fan of the Grand Tour, the former Top Gear guys on Amazon. Did you watch it? Do you watch the show?
No, I do not. I have a limited number of TV shows besides news and commentary shows for this show that I watch, and I don't have room for it. There's no slot available.
Yeah, so I have a slot during the day when Tina's not home. That's when I can watch this. And I'm watching, and they're doing this thing in China, the cheap car challenge, I think they call it. And I'm like, wow, because they got budget on this show. And you know where they are? In Chongqing.
Oh, really?
So the same city that sponsored New Year's Eve in Times Square in New York.
Are they trying to get tourists to go to that place? No one's going to go there.
And it was a blowjob piece, man. It was like, oh, look, it's fantastic. Look, it's great. Oh, look at the roads. Woo! Oh, these guys are 30. How could they do it? It was real. It was almost sickening.
They have these kinds of towns, and that's one of the biggest. I think it's the third biggest city in China.
30 million.
Let me just give some advice if people want to go to China. If you haven't been to Shanghai, you could spend a lifetime just going to Shanghai, and it's one of the greatest towns in the world. It's world class. And then Beijing is fun, but Shanghai is where you go. You can go to Hong Kong if you want to go broke. If you don't want to go broke and you want to have a good time, you go to Shanghai, and then there's other little cities along the coast that are fun. You don't go to this place.
Well, they did, and they got paid to do it. That's for sure. So it was just, it felt dirty to me, even though I'm not a fool. I understand that these shows, how that works. You talk to the tourism department of countries you go to. I get it. But it's just, I was like, oh,
they show you a good time.
Once again, the Chinese all over just spewing their stuff all over our good entertainment, our New Year's Eve entertainment, and our metal.
Somebody's too aggressive, apparently.
Yeah,
the newbies that there will be the tourism bureau for a city like that, or some of these other newbies. They're like millennial directors of tourism.
Right.
They don't know the game. They don't know that. It's obvious when somebody's over promoting. You're not supposed to do it that way. You're supposed to just get them over there, show them a good time, and don't tell them what to do or how to say it, and don't give them crap because they never say anything.
I think there's actually some joke in there that Clarkson in his voiceover says, we can't say this about this, something like
one of those deals.
Yeah. Okay.
Not good. Bad form.
Let's see. What do I have? Nothing new on Brexit, right? Except that
No, I got nothing on Brexit. I got the Venezuela update.
Oh yes, that's what we wanted. Yes. Hold on. That will be a good. That'll be a fun upbeat note to leave this show on.
The U.S. Treasury Department has announced a new round of sanctions against the Maduro regime in Venezuela. They target 6 top members of the Venezuelan security forces responsible for blocking humanitarian aid deliveries. The U.S. recognizes opposition leader Juan Guaido as Venezuela's rightful president. At the State Department, U.S. Special Envoy Elliot Abrams responded to concerns that Guaido's support might be fading.
I'm not concerned about the loss of momentum that some people allege. What underlies all this is not anything the United States is doing. What underlies it is the desire of the Venezuelan people to escape from the condition of dictatorship and economic misery that they are suffering. And that has not diminished.
During a visit to Paraguay today, Guaido announced that 600 members of the Venezuelan military have now abandoned Maduro's government.
Okay, so where do we stand with that then, if that's happening?
The whole thing is up in the air as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we're going to start to we have to do something, and rebelization may be in order. I don't know. This Guaido guy is like, he can't go there, and he's worried sick, so he's in Colombia, he's in Paraguay. He's not in Venezuela, so he can't do anything. And this other guy seems to be entrenched, and he's got a bunch of military guys behind him. I don't believe the 600 number. It's just maybe troops that figure they can go at least get some decent food in Colombia.
Well, I have only one clip I just thought was interesting, considering the European Union, where they stand, and who's going to be the new voting power. And if this goes through, it'll be interesting for the EU in general, and maybe even for other countries specifically.
Germany's Justice Minister, Katharina Barley, has called for the voting age to be lowered from 18 to 16. She told a German newspaper the political engagement of school pupils calling for action on climate change was wonderful.
Yeah.
The Social Democrats said they deserved respect for protesting every Friday to defend their future. BBC News.
So the way I read this is they're so pleased with the child abuse, the results of which are, all this great coverage of climate change. They're so pleased with it, like, we need more of these children, but we need to give them some actual power so they can vote, and then, then we'll indoctrinate a couple, and then all vote for what we want, or something like that.
Yeah, they hope.
Well, yeah.
Well, they figure, here's what I would say if you're going to take it from an elitist perspective. Not that I'm one. Is like, hey, these kids are so easy to manipulate.
Yeah.
If we could just, find a way to manipulate it, we can be in power forever.
I think that's exactly what I said.
No.
It's exactly the idea.
It's not exactly what you said. It's a version of what you said.
Yes. Perhaps a more comprehensive version of what I said.
But the point is that I don't like this thing. They should take it and change the voting age from 18 to 21 is what they should do.
Totally agree.
Move it back.
And that concludes your deconstruction for today on the No Agenda Show. In advance, I want to thank Dave Corbanu, Abel Kirby, Tom Starkweather, Leo LePuke, and Darren O'Neill for the end of show mixes. Got a couple of good ones, so since we're going long anyway, might as well just roll it all out. And we'll be back on Thursday right here on No Agenda. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. And I'm coming to you from downtown Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA Region number 6 on the governmental maps, in the 5x9 Cludio, in the common law condo. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'll say adios, mofos, I'm John C. Dvorak.
Well, then I don't have to say it. Whatever he said, and such.
Foreclosures and evictions. Is your home in rent control? We'll let the banks decide. You want an education. It's a right, not an investment. And if your grades are bad, don't be sad. You'll never have to pay. Tax for you, and so let's give a hoot. Don't pollute unless you've got a license. Green New Deal, a new fantastic
if you tell a joke, if you're sarcastic, you want to talk about an agenda, if you're having fun with the audience, if you're in live television with millions of people.
We all need to understand what this is. This is the Michael Cohen hearing presented by Lanny Davis.
To be honest, I was just happy to get the check.
Russia, please, if you can, get us Hillary Clinton's emails. Please, Russia, please.
Mr. Jordan, all I wanted was what I got, to be personal attorney to the president.
Darling, is the wind blowing today? I'd like to watch television, darling.
Found in the rump.
Walking in with a satchel of rubles.
Found in the rump. Found in the rump. Found in the rump.
So we got the one, but we didn't need the one.
Found in the rump.
And at the end of the day...
You know I'm totally off script right now.
Titled Michael Cohen, no agenda, part of the record.
You want to talk about an agenda, and all of a sudden, they're trying to take you out with bullshit.
You're saying that all of that was just paid to you just because you're a nice guy.
Well, I am a nice guy, but more importantly...
I would beg to differ. The record reflects that you're not a nice guy.
It's rather stunning that there is no agenda.
333.
And reclaiming my time.
I have lied, but I am not a liar.
And now you're going to prison for it.
News for about an hour until Trump tweeted something else. We now know that the confidence that human activities are raising the heat at Earth's surface have reached a 5 sigma level. 5 sigma level. 5 sigma level. In case you were wondering, that is a statistical gauge, meaning there is only a 1 in a million chance that signal would appear if there was no warming. This is the gold standard. Previously applied in 2012 to confirm the discovery of the Higgs boson subatomic particle. You know, when they tried to create the black hole for us all to die in? This is the gold standard. 5 sigma level. 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 This is the gold standard. So now it's not 97%. This is 99.99999% certain that they are right, that humans are causing global warming. This is Oslo.
What governing body?
The Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in California.
Luckily, I have friends within this organization.
Oh, good. I'm sure they listen to the show all the time.
Once again, the curse of Biden strikes.
Joe Biden said something nice about Vice President Mike Pence. And you know what happened?
I get in trouble.
But after major online backlash, Biden is now being forced to walk back his comments.
It's just kind of sad. You can't even say something nice.
The guy's a decent guy. Our vice president.
No more, Mr.
Decent guy.
No more, Mr. Clean. No more, Mr.
Decent guy.
They say he's sick. He's a
The Democrat Party went crazy. How dare you say he's a decent guy? He's anti-LGBTQIAA*.
God rest her soul, and although she's raped, your mom's still alive.
I get in trouble. Decent guy. One of my problems is if I ever run for president, I like Republicans. Bless me, Father, if I have sinned.
He'll get the wall up before the fake news gets him down. They can say what they want. He's got boots on the ground. And he knows just how America feels. He's gonna throw some punches and crush the Green New Deal. Can't you see him standing there taking questions from the mainstream machine. They say he's the worst that they've seen. Just listen to them scream. Give him hell, Trump, Trump. Give him hell, Trump. The best podcast in the universe.
Mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA. Don't fall asleep, right?